opinion and carry Annie.
It's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we talk about all the latest celebrity news, entertainment news, anything that's going on in Hollywood, movies, music, celebrity gossip. We talk about it on this here show. And we got a lot to talk about. But before we get to those topics, do yourselves a solid and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So we do have a lot of topics as I implied earlier, like 30 seconds into the show. I'm gonna do a couple of smaller topics before we get to the main ones, which of course, if you saw the thumbnails, you know we're gonna talk about Wendy Williams. That's my mentor in my head. So I'm gonna give my thoughts on, all the promotional rounds that her niece has been doing and all the latest that's been coming out because it's been a lot, trust and believe. So in addition to the Wendy Williams stuff, it came out this morning. Porsha Williams filed for divorce because, all that tea about her husband, Joanne the scammer, one of many that we reside in Atlanta. Simon, got caught out there doing all his little stuff. And now that the shit doesn't hit the fan, now she won't file for divorce. But we're going to talk about it. But that's going to be an ongoing theme over there at Bravo. A lot of y'all scamming and shit. Speaking of Bravo. Andy Cohen's come under fire. Brandi Glanville accused him of sexual harassment. He has responded, so we're going to talk about that on here. Plus, we were talking about Wendy earlier. Now, remember, Sherri took over Wendy's show. There's some shit going on behind the scenes of Sherri too, because apparently one of the executives that worked on the show was found unalive because I believe he took his own life. And there was an investigation launched into the exec over some missing cash and some unpaid rent and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, child, it's a mess over there at the Sherri Shepherd show. So we got that. Plus, Tiffany Haddish going over to Israel. We're going to talk about that too, because I'm over that donkey. Plus, we'll lighten up a little bit. Ricky Martin's talking about his foot fetish. So Ricky Martin likes feet. We know this because he has been very candid. Like, if you've seen the pictures of him on social media, he did an interview with GQ. I'm gonna pop some pictures up so we could salivate over that fine ass man while we talk about the tea going on with Ricky Martin. Plus, there's rumors going around, and I believe that I talked to somebody on here about this when we talked about the whole drama around Queer Eye and who's going to replace Bobby Burke. Well, one of the names that I did mention was Jeremiah Brent. I believe I also mentioned his husband, Nate Burkus. But anyway, so Nate's husband, Jeremiah, is speaking out because there's rumors going around that he's actually going to be replacing Bobby Burke on the next season of Queer Eye. So I'm going to get my thoughts on that. Plus, we got to throw some Drag Race tea up in there because, RuPaul's Drag Race, another episode is airing tonight. And also, I believe UK versus the World is airing currently on television and all the stuff. So World of Wonder got their thing over there with that. Plus, MTV got the RuPaul's Drag Race thing. So there's rumors floating around about the cast of who's going to be in Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the World, since we're speaking about versus the World. So I got the list of queens that are going to be on the upcoming season of Canada versus the World. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give my opinions, and those of you who are Drag Race fans, y'all could chime in too. Plus, I meant to do this in the last episode, but that last episode was 3 damn hours. So I was like, I ain't add no more to the docket. Hopefully today's episode will be shorter, but if it's not, whatever. I can keep up. I got the stamina. I got the moves, baby. I got the lotion. I know she says motion. I just put lotion in there. But anyway, so Hadia Broadbent, she was a young girl who went on Oprah, was a big AIDS activist and motivational speaker. So she passed away at the age of 39. So we're going to talk about that because I meant to bring that up in the last show, but I was like, I want to do a proper send off, kind of like what I did with oh my God, the actress and trans activist from Pose. When I did her, Cynthia, what was her name? Cynthia, oh my God, I totally forgot her name. But anyway, so I want to give her a proper send off. Let's just say that. So, um, yeah. So before we get to the topics, once again, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification button, so that way you know when we go live. And before we get to that, let me see some of these topics. Before I started, I saw Lost in this Garden of Light. So how you doing? Well, how you doing? Because I do love saying that. I'm gonna keep that term alive. now that she's no longer with her. Well, with us to be able to do it because of what's going on with her. So we're gonna talk about that. And yeah, poor Wendy, this is the worst news. So I'm definitely gonna give my breakdown of that. Hey, Cheryl J, who was in the building, and Robert is in the building. Andy seems like an abuser, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about him and stuff. Oh, well, put it on hold. I'm live. Dog. Get away from me. Wait, hold on. Let me see. I'm here. Say hi, Prince. Pain in the butt. I just want to give y'all a look at this old pain in my look. He don't even want to be on camera, but he want to get on my nerves. Oh, I hope I didn't drop him a kill. But anyway, so without further ado, I was like, without further ado, um, let's get to these topics. I was like, where's my banner? Speaking of which, because I didn't hit my banner before we do that. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna hit on a couple of mini topics before we get to the main ones, the big, big, big topic. Because I like to edge y'all a little bit before we get to the explosive stuff. All right, so let's give a huge shout out to my girl Vanessa Williams. You know, I love me some Nessa because she got her a gig and she's about to. Because she gave me. I've always liked her stuff. I loved her in Eraser. I loved her in so many other things. I do like the music, some of them songs, but um one of the things I've always loved about her is when she played Wilhelmina Slater on Ugly Betty. Well, pretty much y'all can call it typecasting, y'all can call it whatever. But the good thing about it is that she's about to play somebody similar to Wilhelmina Slater when she was running mode. I believe that them characters were simultaneously based off of each other and so Anna Wintour in that same way. So I'm not surprised that she's getting this role. But anyway, so according to Variety, she's about to play Miranda Priestley in one of my favorite movies, The Devil Wears Prada. So they're developing a musical based off the hit 2006 film and best-selling 2003 novel. It features an original score by Olivier and Tony Award winner Elton John. Let me not be bad because Elton John was my root canal nerd, but he out here making his coin. Got to let him make his coin, even though he said he just finished his final. Didn't he say he like retiring or something or another? I mean, he needs to. He damn near in 1 foot in the grave. But anyway, so Tony Award winner Elton John, who did Tammy Faye, Billy Elliot, the musical, and The Lion King. Direction and choreography by three-time Tony Award winner Jerry Mitchell, who did Kinky Boots, Legally Blonde, Pretty Woman, and Hairspray. Lyrics by singer-songwriter Shaina Taub, who did Subs. I'm not familiar with that. And the book by Kate Weatherhead, who did Ever After and Submissions Only. Now, the story follows fresh out of college aspiring journalist Andy, who scores a job at the prestigious Runway magazine looking for fashion's most powerful and working for fashion and most powerful and terrifying icon, editor-in-chief Miranda Priestley. Sacrificing her personal life to meet Miranda's possible demands, Andy finds herself seduced by the glamorous world she once despised. The production features set design by Tim Hatley, Life of Pi, Back to the Future, costume design by Greg Barnes, some like a hot Legally Blonde, lighting design by, well, okay, y'all don't care about all the lighting designs and all that stuff. But like I said before, I love the fact that this is a role that she is playing. I am a fan of Vanessa Williams. I was like trying to look for it because Michael Musto said something about this. And I was like trying to see if I could look up his post real quick. Hold on. Because I remember he was first talking about he said I will not be eating until Glenn Close wins this year. But anyway, um I remember he said something in regards to this whole situation regarding um her. And okay, so I found it. So and I was like, I wasn't really familiar about all the behind the scenes stuff that was going on, but he said the wonderful Vanessa Williams has been cast as Miranda Priestley in the revamped Devil Wears Prada musical opening in London later this year with the y'all already know because I already told y'all. They dumped the entire previous Prada cast, which included a black actress playing Andy, the Anne Hathaway role. But here's what I'm thinking. If the new Andy is black, this will become a show about a black woman being mean to a black girl. Far from the Condé Nasty experience. It's Condé Nast, but I get why he put Condé Nasty in there because of them stories about what went on in Condé Nast and Anna Wintour. Now, if the new Andy is white, it will be about a black woman being mean to a white girl, the complete opposite of the Condé Nasty experience. This is potentially uncomfortable making, but I realize that theater casting is not always going to be taken is not always to be taken literally, and I will wait to see. That's all. So I'm glad he actually said that because I didn't really think of it in that way. I was like, oh, as long all I was thinking about was I was just so happy that Vanessa Williams is going to be doing that role and wanting to see her in that because her playing up bitchiness to the nth degree, like I'm here for it. The gays, we love stuff like we love a bitchy older woman in some fierce fashions and just reading hoes for like, a whole movie or even in this case, a Broadway play. So I was looking forward to that. But now I understand because we're in such a sensitive time with everything that it's like, okay, so now you have this black woman coming down on this black girl, then people are going to be looking at it one way. Now you got a black woman coming down on this white girl, they're going to be looking at it as another way. So I actually am with him and is like, you know what? I want to see how it is when it happens. But what I'm wondering, oh, they said it's going to be, well, it's opening in London at the West End. So I'm hoping if it does well enough that it can come to America and be on Broadway more than likely in 2025. And then they can do that, and then I'll be able to see it. Because one of the things I'm really looking forward to is The Wiz. And I see that they got tickets on sale already, and The Wiz musical is supposed to be starting up on Broadway next month. So I need to get tickets to see that. So I'm gonna have to call up my Broadway friend Joe, because when I go see Broadway plays, I like to go with my Broadway friends. So um I want him to basically, let's go together, let's go see the show and all this stuff. But I'm looking forward to it coming here because I already heard the show Nicole Scherzinger's Sunset Boulevard is supposed to be coming to Broadway after they do their run over at the West End, and I just want to see that too because you know what? Even though Nicole Scherzinger's career ain't pop over here, I do think theater and all the other stuff works for her. Or she could probably be like the Sophie Alex Bextor and just do like smaller venues because the children don't be checking for her like they check for. Well, y'all act like Beyonce the only female artist that ever exists on this planet anyway. Y'all don't let a lot of people don't let other people shine and have moments. Y'all think there should only be one artist per century or whatever. So on that note, good luck to you, Vanessa. I'm excited and I'm hoping that soon enough, right after you do your little West End situation. It's supposed to kick off in October of this year at the Dominion Theater in London. So, um, yeah, there's that. I know y'all still hear the fact that I'm sick. I've had to resort to a humidifier. Yeah, I'm be up in here feeling like Mariah Carey in my own house with the humidifier on, trying to clear out all of this mess. Yes, I am drinking colored soda. I mean, what is it? It's his vitamin water. So, I'm trying to get all them antioxidants and stuff up in there. Okay, so Lois in the Garden of Life says, yes, I heard about this. I'm so happy for her. She's gonna make a great Miranda. Yeah, that's why I'm like, they better hurry up and bring that here. Because I'm sure they're gonna probably do it a good 6 months. So more than likely we probably won't get that in America, I would say late the fourth quarter of 2025, but we definitely need that here. Because I'm like, I don't like the fact that the UK is getting all the good stuff. No, we getting is reboots of or musicals based on Beetlejuice and some damn Shrek. She made Ugly Betty iconic, but to put Victoria Beckham in flats so Posh wouldn't outshine her at Wilhelmina wedding. I mean, I would have put her in flats too, because as I'm waiting for right wingers to pretend to lose their shit and say that they were. Oh, they say everything went woke. Apparently, the X-Men went woke. Anything that got to do with anything to do with social commentary, which has always existed in art, they're always going to say that it's woke. Huh, that word has been weaponized so much by a bunch of damn saltines, I can't. So, speaking of which, since we were talking about Vanessa Williams, let's talk about Jennifer Lopez. So, a week after announcing that she was heading out her first North American tour in 5 years, because when she turned 50, she did the whole "It's My Party" tour and all that other stuff. When she was like going bragging around, I'm 50, okay, good for you, bitch. I can't wait till I turn 50. Then I can sit up in here and brag all the damn time. But That's your situation. I don't know why I just came out the gate like that, but whatever. I don't know. I just think certain things about Jennifer Lopez, particularly when it comes to her damn narcissism, she irritates me. And plus, I know too many damn Leos. That's probably why. Them some of y'all, I live for y'all, but y'all could be a lot. But anyway, so she's adding more dates to the This Is Me Now tour. Now, La Lopez is already set to perform in North American markets such as Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Philadelphia, Nashville, Atlanta, New York, New Orleans, or sorry, Nowlands, as I like to call it, and more. Now, tickets are selling out quick, so if you need to get your ticket, you can head over to Ticketmaster. I did put the link on my website, chrisavalon.com, where I talked about this very article. You can click on it. The tickets is there. If you need to get one, go get one. So she's basically continuing the tour. And how I found this out is because, okay, so I told y'all, if y'all don't know already, I work at Madison Square Garden. I worked the show last night. I ain't gonna talk about it because apparently, policy with my job is they don't like when we talk anything about what happens in the arena. So I keep it to myself, or yeah, I keep it to myself. I don't talk because I like my job. And the fact of the matter is I get to see a lot of free shows. So the NDA is the NDA. However, and so when I went to work yesterday, I did see like they had the big billboard or whatever that said that she added another date. The first date that she's doing is August 16th, which is a holy holiday because that's Madonna's birthday. Yes, it's a holy holiday, child. It's like y'all want to celebrate Valentine's Day, that fake ass holiday. I celebrate August 16th. Shout out to the Queen. But anyway, so I said, so she's got the 16th and the 17th of August. So if you would know, so I'm like, okay, so the New York girls is here for her, and I'm not surprised. I say a whole lot about J Lo. If y'all been watching this show over the years, and in the past week when we was talking about the promotional train of This Is Me Now and all that other stuff, and my thoughts about the the Amazon Prime video thing that she, and I think don't the documentary come out? What's today's day? Oh, the 23rd. I think it doesn't the documentary part, the greatest story never told or whatever. Child, it's been told. It's been told many a times by many other people who are way more talented in this arena, in this space. I'm talking about love and relationships than J Lo. But if that was the title you want to use to get people eyes on that damn documentary, kudos to you, sis. Do what you got to do to promote this shit hard and that marriage, which I don't think is gonna last. But you know, I'll say what I'll say. Anyway, so I said a whole lot about J Lo and those other mess, but you cannot deny she is a phenomenal stage performer. That bitch will dance circles and give you a full on show for 2 hours, back and track blasted and all. But she'll give you costumes. She'll give you the diva fan. She'll be up there with that little cane doing that get right dance moves and all that other stuff. And I'm not hating. I'm just saying. So one of the things, so the album may not be doing well on Spotify and all of other places. The streamings may not be streaming. And all the other stuff may not be doing what needs to be doing. But one thing Jennifer Lopez will do is she will give you a show. She'll give you full on fantasy, full on diva antics, the blowing her weave, the flashy outfits, the full out choreography. Like she gonna give you a show. So I'm sure that she is definitely going to give the girls and the gays and some of you horny men that's going to be dragged along with your girlfriends to go to this show that don't want to be there. She gonna give the people what they want, and she gonna win a lot of people over. Now I'm hoping because these tickets out here is expensive, and that's one of the reasons why I decided I wanted to work at Madison Square Garden in those spaces. Because it's like if there's somebody like there's very few people that I will go hard for to buy a ticket, but and those people. I will buy a ticket to their show. Like Madonna, I was not working. I was like, I'm going to see this show. I want people to take my videos. I want to take my pictures. I want to be on the side being a guest. Just like there was a guy that I worked with who was a security guard. He was at the Pantera concert yesterday as a guest. So my thing is, I want to be able to. So, but if these tickets out here for certain artists is too damn expensive, even like the nosebleed seats is like $500, $600. I said, oh hell no! I will work the shift. I'll have to not be able to fully enjoy it because I'll be having to deal with whatever the people and all the other stuff that's going on. But for me, I'm like, if it comes down to it, I definitely would love to work a Jennifer Lopez concert just so I can watch it and have that experience, but I have to pay for it. So kudos to you, sis. Like I said, regardless of what you say about J Lo or whatever, her work ethic and her performance and stuff can't be denied. And I hate when people don't look beyond it. They be like, oh, people are jealous of her because she pretty or she work hard. I'm like, nobody has ever denied all of that stuff because so many people in this industry, dime a dozen. You could say that about. You could say that about Beyonce. You could say that about Taylor Swift. You could say that about um so many other divas in this business. They all work hard. They're all good looking. If you got a good glam squad, they know how to put your ass together. But the matter is, I judge people and measure them on the body of work. I don't care about the work ethic. Well, I'm gonna call it out and be like, yeah, this person works their ass off, but it's got to be. You got to dig deeper than just being the pretty. And I know there's a lot of these femme queens that be all up on, so J Lo, that's how y'all are. Y'all want to stay on the surface, stay on the surface. And I love y'all, but I call it out as I see it. But I look beyond that, and it's like, is the artistry there? Is it gonna last the test of time? And I feel like this album the girls ain't gonna be listening to this shit 10 years from now because that marriage ain't gonna last as long as that damn record. So it is what it is. So kudos to you, girl. Good luck. And I'm sure she's probably hard at work on the rehearsals. If not already, well, she's probably still promoting and doing those other stuff. But I'm sure she's getting ready. She's already got her team and everybody trying to figure out how the stage is going to look, what costumes they're going to have, who they're going to design them costumes, which songs they're going to pick, and all other stuff. I just hope there's not a lot of "This Is Me Now" songs that she's going to be singing because the kids, the J lovers, because I think that's what they call them. Y'all want the classics. I want to hear "Get Right." I want to hear um "El Anillo." I want to hear all them songs. I want to hear "On the Floor." I want to hear "Rebound" with Anuel. Maybe she'll bring him out for the song. 'Cause that's the latest. That's the latest version. And then some people was like, the video was confusing. I think Robert said that to me. But then also another friend of mine who's an artist was sitting there like, and I didn't even think of this. The choreography reminded him of Madonna's Human Nature. I was like, bitch, you're gonna live a long time because I definitely didn't see that. But now I was like, why did that choreography, the twirling with the rope and all that stuff look so familiar? Human Nature. Look, everybody take the blueprint. That's why I said Madonna's birthday is a national holiday. Y'all just didn't know that. But anyway, so let's get to these comments because we got a lot of them. Um, Chad, not the Bible is woke. I mean, it is. I mean, quiet as it's kept. Look, I've been trying to tell y'all that church, religion, the Bible, all other stuff that was used by them colonizers to enslave the minds of the weak. But nobody ever wants to listen to what I be saying. Wait, did I say not the saltine? Because that is a word that I use, and I say stuff so much I don't be realizing what comes out of my mouth. But anyway, so are they really selling? Yeah, because didn't they say that about Pink Friday too? Hold on, because I need to swig on that. Didn't they say that about Pink Friday too? That them tickets was selling fast and they had to add dates and all that other stuff. Gonna find out, Maury took that DNA test and turned out that was a lie. And now we got tickets for that concert going as low as $10. So that is a good question. Or is it that the people been buying up tickets and then that's when them scalpers, because that's been a major problem when it comes to like ticket sales and stuff, is that it's these damn scalpers that be buying up them pre-sale tickets and stuff, and then y'all want to charge people $2,500 for a damn front row ticket or a nosebleed section or whatever. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Robert said, I did watch the Apple Music live special, and I agree. She's a performer. Like Michael Karpinski said, it should be illegal for JLo to perform on August 16th. New York needs to make Madonna's birthday a holiday. But look, she gonna get her coin. She may get her coin. Oh yeah, that is true. And I forgot about that. Felix said it's Angela Bassett's birthday too. And in the same age. Well, it'd be a real gag if they was born at the same time. Lupe was pushing out JLo around the same time as Angela's mother. Can you imagine? Doesn't she sing that one song taco flavor? Not tacos, burritos. That is funny. Is it? Would that be considered racist? Well, I do love a disgusting off kilter whatever. But but then again, people of color cannot be racist. I've been saying that for the longest. We can be prejudiced with stuff, but we can't be racist because racism implies that you can oppress a demographic of people. Oh, okay. Felix told me what it is, but I'm gonna get to that. My name is Jennifer Lopez, and I like tacos and burritos. And then she works with Jamie. Oh yeah, Madonna works with Jamie King too. Wait, who works with Jamie King? Jennifer Lopez? I thought Jennifer Lopez was working. I thought her creative directors was Nappy Tabs, as in Napoleon Dumo and Tabitha Dumo, the married couple who I basically knew as the co-choreographers of So You Think You Could Dance. And then they started, I know Jennifer Lopez started working with them at one point. So I didn't know if she was working with Jamie King. The only one I knew that was working with Jamie King was Madonna. Oh, okay. He said that's from South Park. I figured it had to be. I'm like, wait a minute. Why have I not heard that song? It's probably because I don't really watch South Park. Like, I haven't watched South Park since I was a kid. So, and that show's been on for like what, 30 years? So yeah, I haven't watched South Park in that long. So I didn't even know where that was from. But it's tacos, burritos. I'm like, first of all, she's not Mexican, even though she played one. But anyway, let's get back to the show. And let's talk about my girl Kylie Minogue. Speaking of whores and things, she's been invited to return to the Venetian in Las Vegas for a lifetime residency, and this is according to reports. So shout out to the Sun for this story. So Kylie Minogue is having what I think are two of the best years of her career after decades of grafting. Her number one album, Tension, which spawned chart-topping comeback single, which charts. Wait, hold on. First of all, there's a misprint in here. It said, well, Padam Padam, that was like a big comeback single for her, especially after the pandemic and all this stuff. She couldn't really promote the disco record the way she wanted to. But Padam Padam, it, in my opinion, is like her biggest, even though she's had many over the years, her biggest comeback single, in my opinion, since Can't Get You Out of My Head, which came out like what, 2001? But anyway, so, and she also just won a Grammy last month. Or was it this month? Wait, we still in February, right? Yeah. So, I'd be so confused because a lot of times these award shows get moved around so much. And that's been since the pandemic and stuff. Award shows have been moved around when they usually are at different time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So now they're saying that now that she's got the win in her sales, Kylie has no plan to slow down, which, it turns out, could work for her in her favor. After the boss of Sin City's Voltaire nightclub got the vision of pound signs in his eyes. In America, we call them dollar signs. Saying, I can reveal that the pie-sized Aussie has been such a hit at Michael Gruber's establishment, he has invited her to return to the Venetia for as long as she wants. Now, insiders told the Sun that the deal on the table was effectively a residency for life, meaning Kylie could pop in and out whenever she pleases. A source said Michael absolutely loves Kylie and doesn't want to lose her. It is the first residency for life when you come in based on your schedule that has been put on the table in Vegas. Usually venues want to lock someone in for a fixed period or have exclusivity when it comes to live shows. But when it comes to Miley, when it comes to Kylie, Michael knows he is onto something golden. Really? And he put the offer on the table for Kylie to consider. Now, the Star's scheduled run of shows in the U.S. are due to finish in May, but the Sun's insider said that she is seriously considering the bid and is looking at her diary. The source added, Kylie has loved Vegas, but her schedule is jam-packed over the next few months. She has a repackage of her album Tension coming out. I thought it came out already, but I guess not. That's probably what she's working on, because word on the curb is Kylie Minogue has they said, oh, she's working on new music for a new album. But it would make perfect sense if she did a album of Tension, but an extension of Tension. Wait, isn't it called Extension? which I thought was clever, by the way, which is longer versions of the songs because we're in this era now where everybody want their songs to be 2.5 minutes so y'all can fit this whole TikTok thing. But TikTok already got issues with Universal Music. Universal Music don't pull all their music from TikTok. So at this point, I don't understand why people are beholding themselves to a goddamn app with a ridiculous algorithms determine whether or not your song is a hit. So in my opinion, I feel like we need to go back to songs that's over 3 minutes. Can we get that? At least 3 minutes. I push for 3.5. But for me personally, I love a 5 minute track. I like it. You can push for 5.5. I hate these 1 minute 30 songs or whatever the case is, or a 2 minute song or a song in a 3 minute. Like I'm like, I can't even get my I haven't even got my, a wind in my sails before the song is over. I'm like, well, goddamn, now I gotta listen to the song. And I think that's why y'all do it. Y'all want me to repeat and listen to the song 500 damn times until I've gotten it ingrained in my system, and then I can move on and be like, okay, I'm good. But then meanwhile, it was all them streams that equates to like what, 1 cent or whatever the bullshit is scam that y'all got going on with how many million streams you got to do to even accumulate some kind of money from them streams from Spotify and all them other places. So that's ridiculous. But on a talk about this situation, I think this is a perfect idea. And I actually think it's quite smart if Kylie signs on to do a residency for life. Because yes, at this point, it's like, yeah, she's recording new music. They said that she's doing a expanded version of tension. Hopefully, it's more leaning into the dance stuff. Like I need more Vegas High type songs. I need more Padam Padam type songs. There's songs in this album. I'm like, girl, I don't know what you was thinking, but them songs should not have been included on tension because it didn't feel like I need Hold On to Now. Like we need more songs like that. Real euphoric, a lot of production, fierce vocals. Like we need all of that. There's some songs in this album. Like, girl, what was y'all thinking putting this? Like that don't even fit with it didn't flow the way I wanted to. So while I love me some Kylie and I was looking forward to this comeback, and I had so much high expectations on tension, it didn't really give me what I needed. So hopefully with this expanded version, y'all gonna give me some more of them fierce beats. And y'all give me some more, you gonna give me more dance Kylie and pop Kylie and all that other stuff. The shit I live for. Cause I want to queen out to this album. So I actually think this is a good idea. Sidebar. How is the Christina Aguilera part of the Voltaire doing? Because I remember I saw a video of Perez Hilton giving his review on it because he lives in Vegas now. So I know he did a review on the Christina Aguilera Voltaire performance, and they ate him up in the comments because he said anything remotely critical, and he had his issues with her in the past. So people always gonna hold him to that based off his reputation. So he was saying some things, and people ate him up in them comments. I said, "Well, goddamn, I'm glad I'm not you." But I never was, even though Perez and I came up around the same time doing the podcast and YouTube and not even YouTube, but like blogger space and stuff. I was never as vicious as he was. Like if I give constructive criticism, a lot of people said, "Well, damn, you was kind of harsh with that," but you was actually right. There's always some truth in what I'm gonna say. Like I'm not gonna do nothing malicious and real mean spirited and put like cum drops and put fire crotch or whatever over your picture because I want to bring attention to the work that I do. I'm gonna just say my stuff. I'm like, oh, that was. Then you catch the read, you catch the read. If you don't, you don't. But anyway, so I say all this to say, I'm glad for her that I hope she does take this in. But what I really want is that okay, you could pop it after May, Miss Mamas. I need you to start. Okay, get that extended version of Tension out. Some more songs, so I guess she can have more to do when she goes live. Go over to UK, do your little UK tour, and Australia, all the other places that you do. Give the Europeans a little something because you've been giving America a little something for a while, and I know the Europeans probably get mad that we took their precious Kylie when it's been long overdue since she came over here and really gauged everybody with her presence. So what I'm hoping is go give the Europeans, give them a little something, something to shut them the fuck up, then come back to and give us a little mini US tour, kind of like what Jennifer Lopez is doing. Like yeah, just hit up all the big spots like Atlanta, New York. I'm sure she'll sell multiple dates in New York because the gays love her here, and a lot of the people love her in New York. Well, first of all, New Yorkers, we really support artistry and music. Say what you want, even though people say like our situation ain't been what it's been in a long time, and New York has kind of lost its juice in the soul. There's still a few of us here that still appreciate artistry, creativity, and we go hard for our musicians. I can't speak for for everywhere else, but in New York, we definitely do. So um so I want her to come here and give us a tension tour, and then after that, you could take a little break, and then be like, okay, I'll do the Voltaire like for 6 months, 3 days a week, whatever the case is. So just be cute, because I would love to have that option. But anyway, so good luck to you, girl. We got a lot of comments on this. Jesus, let's get to there. Um, okay, so it said on the real though, J Lo's Waiting for Tonight was a bop like 30 years ago. It was, and I continue to tell people that is actually not a Jennifer Lopez song. Fun fact, that was actually a oh my god, I forgot the name of the girl group. Third Party. There's a girl group that came out in the 90s called Third Party. One of the women that was a part of that, she damn, I forgot what was her name, Maria Christensen, I think it was her name or whatever. She wrote the song. If you read the writer credits, that name is up there. So Third Party, I don't know what happened in that damn album. I've been looking all over the streaming services. It's nowhere to be found. But luckily enough, I will tell you this: I have the cassette tape somewhere in my parents' attic in a box because I bought the cassette tape of that album back in the 90s. So um I say all this to say Waiting for Tonight was one of the songs that was on that album, the Third Party album, which I believe was subtitled. Then a couple of years later, Jennifer Lopez wound up singing it. And now I think she made it more of a famous song because she sang it versus Third Party. Because Third Party was like a one album wonder. Oh, not even. I don't even know if any of their songs charted back in that. Maybe on the dance charts, but in the mainstream pop, Billboard, whatever, I don't know. I would have to Google schmoogle real quick. But we live, so I'm gonna just focus on this. But anyway, yes, Waiting for Tonight was a third party song originally. All those worked with all those worked with Jamie King and their disciples of him. That's what's good way. Jamie danced with MJ. Well, who didn't dance with MJ? MJ always one of the things about Michael Jackson and Madonna, but since we talking about Michael Jackson, let's focus on him. He's always would pick the creme de la creme of dancers. He always had the best dancers. And after they danced with him, they went on to become choreographers and stuff and work with a lot of the big talent and stuff. So that's always been he's always had an eye for talent, but that's because Michael was a Virgo, like me. It's a streaming era and TikTok version of Fever because Fever was on our TRL era of millennials. Excuse me. Tension has two extra songs that was exclusive to her web store and exclusive remixes. So I know the reissue would have the web store. Well, I hope so because I did like those songs, and I remember you sent me those illegally. And I downloaded them into my phone, but I would definitely love to have it where it's just like it could be a part of my actual iTunes Apple Music list. They did do an extended version of Tension with most of the songs are 4 minutes. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they called it Extension. But that would have been actually cooler if they would have saved it for the extra song, like the bonus song. They would have called it Extension. She went from a not cohesive project. That's what made Disco and Golden special was, well, yeah, it was. And that's what I feel like she needs is when she does the follow up to Tension is that you need somebody there that could be an architect to really stitch the album together. Because I remember at one point, didn't Madonna do that? Like she called when she was having trouble putting the album together, whatever, she called in Stuart Price to help her, kind of weave things in. And a lot of artists do that. Like they'll call somebody and be like, I'm having trouble, or somebody, well, I don't know if it was Madonna, but it was somebody that called in Stuart Price. I forget what I think it might have been Dula P. But a lot of times people do that, where it's like if you're having trouble, you call that one person that that really understands you, and it's like I'm having trouble trying to find the flow and to really help put this album together, and then you bring that person in and they help you with what you need. They help some producers. Some are really good architects. There's some that just do beats or whatever the case is, but then there are some good architects that come in and know how to like help set the foundation. I really want to be a bitch. Well, please do, because we encourage bitchiness on this. I really want to be a bitch, as have you accepted the reality you're going to be single for life because nobody wants to date Wait, who are we talking about? Who nobody want to date? We talking about J Lo? I think Kylie Minogue accepted the fact that she's not going to be a mother and all this stuff. Because sometimes with this career, you definitely have to sacrifice so much. You cannot have it all. I know a lot of people. You can have it all. You can be married and you can have the big career and you can be a million. No, you can't. You got to sacrifice something. Why you think Julia Roberts is still married to the man she is? What is he, a cinematographer? Because he works behind the scenes and he don't do as much as her. But you have, there's certain people that works for that they can make it work. Well, one got to be the bigger star than the other, and the other person got to accept it. You cannot be two big major stars. Why do you think, in my opinion, Jada Pinkett resents Will Smith? Because Will Smith is the bigger star. She was an actress in her own right, and she had to sacrifice a lot. That's why she was run over her damn mouth with that red table talk. So I truly believe that. I was like, there's a lot of when it comes to this business, a lot of egos, jealousy, envy, and stuff. And y'all may not see it out in real time, and it has to be presented in front of you. But a lot of these people, they can't handle it. Attention, green light, dumb dumb, and things we do for love. Oh well. Oh yeah. Those were all the songs that should have been omitted from the album. Yeah, right on, because I did not like any of those songs. I know she's getting a Brit for global. Well, as she should, because she is a global icon. Sophie sold out based off of one song and website. That is gonna be, you know what, and that's crazy. I can, and this is why I said that was, I ain't gonna say it, but since you brought it up, um, I know a few songs from Sophie Ellis Bextor, but like I said, I don't know her music enough, and I'm not that big enough of a fan just to go see someone in concert and just to hear them sing "Murder on the Dance Floor." I'm like, bitch, if I wanted to see you do that live, I could just watch the Jimmy Fallon performance, and then she performed it at the BAFTAs. So if y'all want to do that, you can just go on YouTube and watch them two performances for free. Why would I go to a whole concert where I'm going to hear you sing for 2 hours and only for one song? Like, this is what I don't understand about some people. Like that, and also I don't understand people that will buy a ticket for a concert. The main attraction you didn't buy the ticket for, but you bought it for the opening act. And after the opening act is done, then you leave. I'm like, I don't throw away money like that. Like money is precious. Look, everything is too damn expensive in New York, and I'd be damned if I'm just gonna go pay for an artist just because they're an opening act or whatever. I need to like everybody on the roster if I'm gonna pay for it. Or if it's at least one person, then I'm like, I'll tolerate it. But I'll bite the bullet and be like, okay, whatever. But if most of the people that I like, then I'll put the money in. Because be hurry to get through these topics, these comments before we move on to talking about one more thing before we get to the Porsha story, because that Porsha is next after next. Third party came out during Spice Mania. Of course, they're gonna get washed out. EMI Virgin played hard in marketing the Spice Girls. Oh, let me find. Oh, you remember third party too? One of my favorite songs of theirs was "Can You Feel It in the Air?" "My Love Is Alive." They had a lot of good damn songs in that album, bitch. Um, Sometimes when I be wanting to revisit the music, I do go on YouTube and pull up the videos that they have on there. Third party has some bops. That's because I grew up listening to 103.5, the new KTU in New York, where they always played the dance music, the freestyle, all of that stuff. But when I was a kid, my mother had us listen. This is how become why my musical repertoire is so, you know, expansive. But when I was a kid, my mother would put on Light FM. If you're from New York, you'll know what that is. That's basically a station where it's like they play a lot of light music. They play like Crystal Gale, Kenny Rogers, all of that stuff, Dolly Parton. So I grew up listening to all of that music. And the reason why she did that is because we could never get ready in the morning. My thing was I grew up like I was trained in music, all other stuff. So if you put on some a music with a bop or beat or whatever, I was up in here dancing. I was doing everything but getting ready to go to school. So my mother had to put on the other music because we weren't into it that much. But then it's when it's ingrained in your brain when you're a kid, when you get older, you appreciate it. So that's where my musical, library comes from. Hold on. Okay, so Madonna did that with Ray of Light too, getting William Orbit involved. Exactly, because it was like, and it always turns out, oh, so that's what you're talking about. Yep, nope, yeah. People still don't like Perez Hilton. Um, he said he's changed, he's evolved. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt to change and evolve and stuff, but people still hold him to all that stuff he did back in the day. Child, I don't do that. You develop ulcers doing all of that. I saw a clip of Monica singing. So, oh yeah, I think we talked about that in the last show when we was talking about Nicki Minaj. I was like, with the whole Cat Williams. I was like, first of all, this whole tour sound like a damn mess. How you gonna have a comedian open up for you to do a rap show? Your fan base don't even know who the hell they are because you got a bunch of a bunch of damn bottoms that's under the age of 18 that listen to your music, and a couple of mothers who are still trying to live vicariously through their children, and you're gonna have Monica who has not been able to and I did say this read, and somebody tried to get me well, not get me together, but trying to say, but she's a Grammy winner because I said that Monica is basically a singer for the Chitlin circuit. What she basically is, she is that Monica's never been mainstream. Like she only, has been successful in like the chit. Like when I call Chitlin circuit, I said she ain't moved beyond the small black demographic music community. So she doesn't have that expansive career like a Brandi. And it could have been because Brandi is non-threatening. She's a non-threatening black girl. So the mainstream will be like, oh, okay, we could promote her because she doesn't come across as like ratchet and ghetto and all those stereotypes that y'all like to put on certain people that y'all want to let through into the mainstream spaces. So that's what I was saying with that. But then with them struggle vocals, and I talked about that, and then that's when Robert sent me the video. I was like, I heard them struggle vocals. I've been hearing them all week. People been dragging her over them shits. People try to blame it on the BBL, but she said she don't have a BBL. She was wearing like these shorts that give her a big butt, which drag queens do that. They pad and they do it. I said, let me find out you trying to use like little old drag queen secrets when you padding yourself up to try to have a big old butt. I have them on my page here. Um, you said those were songs Felix had to remix to make them palatable. It's a Grammy winner, Bonnie. Yeah, and that she was another one I grew up listening to, and I was like, yeah. But back to speaking of Grammy winners, when I was talking about, oh my God, Monica, I did say something about Grammy winner and all that other stuff, and she said, there was, oh, but she won a Grammy, and I was like, okay, but I mean, yeah, she did win a Grammy. However, she won it for the same thing that Brandy won it for. The Boy Is Mine, which that was what they won the Grammy for. It wasn't like she won a Grammy off of her own record, or if she did, then I'll eat some imaginary crow right now if she has other Grammys outside of The Boy Is Mine. But I don't be following Monica like that, who's friends basically with everybody in fucking Atlanta. Oh, and Sailor Mermaid is in the building. All right, let's hurry up and get through some of these other topics so I can get to the good juicy stuff. Okay, so um movies, y'all already know I love it. All the other stuff because I'm a big, I went to film school, all the other stuff. So one of the movies I was going back and forth, but I was like, "Will anybody care about this?" But I care, and I'm gonna make y'all care. So one of my favorite action movies that's come out in a long time is the whole John Wick franchise. I even like the Continental. It wasn't all that good in my opinion. It could have been way more in a whole lot of situations, but for the most part, I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw on that Peacock 3-part 90-minute whatever the hell you want to call it. So there's been a spinoff that's been in the works for a while. They finished it, whatever. It was supposed to come out this year. It's called The Ballerina, starring Ana de Armas. Now, I do like Ana de Armas. I was kind of confused as to why they would put her in this movie as the lead, playing the Russian. If you saw John Wick Chapter 3, Antebellum, there's a scene when he's walking through the place to meet Angelica Houston, who basically raised him as an orphan to become this big assassin. And she runs a theater teaching ballerinas how to dance, but they're also killers, the ballerinas. There's a girl in one scene that you see her walking into the auditorium and she's dancing or whatever, and then she's telling her again, again, again in Russian. That is the character that Ana de Armas is supposed to play in the new movie. Now, they had finished it. It was supposed to be directed, well, not supposed to be, it is. It's directed by Len Wiseman, who, directed the first 2 Underworld movies, which I love. And, he used to be married to Celine, a.k.a. Kate Beckinsale. They're divorced. Then he directed another movie that I like, Live Free or Die Hard. He also directed the remake of Total Recall, which I like in some parts. Another movie, another flop that stars Jessica Biel. I had to throw that Justin Timberlake read up in there. But so yeah, so he directed that movie, but it didn't do well because I think people thought he took Total Recall a little too seriously, whereas the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone and Rachel Ticotin, a movie I absolutely love and own and watch repeatedly, A lot of the social commentary, the satire of it all was missing from his version. It was a little too serious, in my opinion. So I think that's what took it away. But I did love seeing Kate Beckinsale kick ass in the movie, and then the big fight scene with her and Jessica Biel in the elevator. So that's what I love about that movie. I like all the action stuff, and seeing fine ass Colin Farrell in that movie playing Quaid. Anyway, so the movie was supposed to come out this year, but apparently it's not because they want to add a little more action to the movie. So it says Lionsgate's John Wick spin-off Ballerina starring Ana de Armas will be delayed a year from June 7, 2024 to June 6, 2025. The movie comes as John Wick architect Chad Stahelski has inked a new deal with Lionsgate to oversee the franchise. He's working with Ballerina director Len Wiseman on additional action sequences for the movie to amp it up even more than it is. Advanced tracking is already hot on Ballerina. Lionsgate just wants to make the feature produced by Basil Iwanek and Erica Lee's Thunder Road even better. Currently, the ballerina stands alone on the on her new summer 2025 state. Now, what they're saying is that the reboot or the redo or redux, they're they have a new Crow movie coming apparently. So they're actually moving that in the June 7th slot that Ballerina was supposed to come in. I mean, was supposed to be released in. Bill Skarsgård is actually playing the part of Eric Draven, aka the Crow, which is a reimagining of the original graphic novel by James O'Barr. Now, Soulmates and Eric and Shelley. Shelley's actually played by FKA Twigs. Now, definitely, now that I hear this cast, I definitely want to see this movie because I could definitely see FKA Twigs playing that part because Eric is like a rock and roll star who's like he and her are killed, and then and then the demons of her dark past basically catch up with them. But then he's given the opportunity to save his true love by sacrificing himself, and then he seeks revenge on the killers. The movie is supposed to star Danny Houston, Laura Burns, Samil Bruhajila, whatever you say, and Jordan Borgler. And here's the thing: that movie is supposed to, they've been trying to make that movie for a million years. I'm just glad that we finally got it made. I hope it doesn't suck because everything since the Brandon Lee film has been trash. I refuse any of them other movies. I refuse to acknowledge them. And I like Bill Skarsgård. And there's a movie another action movie that he has coming out that I just saw a trailer for yesterday called, I think it's called Boy Kills World, which reminds me so much of Boy Meets World, which I think that maybe I was thinking that, where he plays like this deaf mute guy who beats the shit out of people. So there's a lot of movies that's coming out this year of people taking on that John Wick type of situation. And so I definitely want to see this Crow movie. I need to see a trailer before I even jump on like this whole thing and be like, okay, I want to see this film. But nevertheless, about the Crow, so I want to get to this and we can wrap this up. I was not sold on Ana de Armas playing this part until I saw her in that short ass sequence that she was in No Time to Die with James Bond, the last James Bond movie. She played like a Cuban spy, and they had that sequence when they were in Cuba. That was like the best scene in that movie. That movie was a mess, but and I don't even particularly think I liked Rami Malek as the villain, but that movie was, that sequence alone was pretty good. So I actually am looking forward to this one only because of what she did in that film. I know they're going to turn up in this film. And here's the thing: I love action movies, especially when it comes to women beating people up. I like women kicking ass. I like those type of movies. Like I said, I would love for them to make an Expendables with women with a good damn script because I don't know what the hell happened to them Expendable movies. The ones with, the ones that came out over the years with I almost said Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though he wasn't one. Sylvester Stallone, because I heard that fourth one was terrible. I wouldn't even watch it with 50 Cent and what's the girl name with the botched up face now? Megan Fox. I ain't watching that shit. I heard so many bad things about that film. That was like one of the worst movies of 2023. But um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this film. I like Ana de Armas. I'm really excited about this film. I'm mad that I gotta wait till 2025. But if y'all need to add like beef up the action because y'all see what this girl is capable of and she could take on beating the crap out of people and y'all want to put more gun fu up in there until y'all can feed us another John Wick movie, then I'm here for it. Also, since Chad Stahelski is trying to build up this whole John Wick franchise and stuff, like their own cinematic universe, like the MCU, which is what everybody seems to be doing. Can we please get one based off Sophia? Like Halle Berry I almost said Antebellum. In Parabellum, the third one, her sequence was awesome. I need to see more Halle Berry in action movies. So y'all need to get that film made. Because I definitely would love to see her backstory of like her actually trying to go get her daughter, who she had to give up to go run the continent so that way they won't kill her or whatever. I would love them to build a story around that too. Because Halle Berry definitely deserves her flowers when it comes to so many, you know, how much she has given to this industry called Hollywood. And y'all done played her dirty. Look, y'all did her dirty by not giving her that Jinx spinoff from that James Bond movie that she did back in the day with Pierce Brosnan. Y'all need to do her right by this film. So, Chad, if you're listening, please give her a spinoff. Okay, so now let's get to some of these comments. Oh, he says screaming. Didn't Monica win a Grammy for the song for what was that? The For You I Will? Did she? No, I don't think she got a Grammy for that. I think it was for The Boy Is Mine. Because that's what what's the name won it for? That's what Brandi won it for too. Okay, I remember it was a big hit, went to number one. Yeah. Remember that Gina Davis movie? Yeah, The Long Kiss Goodnight is actually another favorite movie of mine. You know, that's the movie she worked on with her ex-husband. I think that movie bombing almost killed her career because there was two movies. She was married to Rennie Harlan. She was trying to like go into this action movie space. The first one she did, which they dragged her over, was Cutthroat Island, where she was the pirate movie. Then that movie bombed big. So that was I think that was like one of the biggest bombs since Waterworld that was going on around, like one of the big disaster films in regards of like how it did at the box office. Then she did The Long Kiss Goodnight, which in my opinion was a much better movie. But I think because of the stench of Cutthroat Island, people didn't really go see The Long Kiss Goodnight. And The Long Kiss Goodnight was written by, oh my God, the guy who he's written a lot of films, but he was also, damn, I don't know how I forgot his damn name. He's written Lethal Weapon. He was actually one of the guys that was in Predator, and he did the Predator movie, the one with Jacob Tremblay that didn't do well at the box office. So he wrote the script for that. And I actually like some of his writing. But The Longest Goodnight is actually one of my favorite female action films that I revisit every year because it's a Christmas movie, like Die Hard, in my opinion. I know some people don't like to consider it one, but anyway. Okay, so now let's get to the juicy stories. After I done edge job with all the other stuff, but I do love the participation, even though I know some people are like I don't care about this stuff, but whatever. So let's talk about Porsha, who this morning filed for divorce. Well, actually, it was yesterday, according to the reports. She filed for divorce from her husband, Simon Guobadia. So, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Porsha Williams and her husband, Simon Guobadia, are going their separate ways. The returning Real Housewives of Atlanta star submitted the court documents on Thursday in Atlanta, according to People. The filing appears to be private, so it's not immediately clear why Williams made the decision. I'll tell you why, but we're going to finish this story first. A source told the magazine that the cause of the breakup is an ongoing matter. Now, Williams' reps did not immediately respond to Page Six's request for comment. Despite wanting to dissolve her marriage, Williams still has her name Porsha Guobadia on Instagram. Well, she better change it. Williams, who's 42, and Guobadia, who's 59, still follow each other on the social media platform. And he had posted a photo of her in a bikini surrounded by a huge bouquet of red roses, red balloons, and a red teddy bear just last week. All mine, my love, he captioned the February 16th post. The Bravo celebrity shared the same photos from the Valentine's Day shoot on her account with the caption, "Happy wife, happy life, Mrs. Guobadias." The now estranged couple took the Snazzle on a romantic vacation to Dubai. Now, Williams shared a video of herself packing on the PDA with Guobadia while they took a lavish car-turned-boat ride in the United Arab Emirates, sorry. "My ride or die. Yes, I thought he was going to die today. Hashtag be his peace." She captioned the clip on February 17th. Williams and Guobadia celebrated their first wedding anniversary on November 2023, sorry. And she celebrated the occasion by gifting him a diamond wedding band. I'm like, Porsha got money like that, but I guess she's still doing reality TV. She probably got endorsements and all other stuff. So we first saw them come together when she didn't close her legs to that married man when he was with Fallon. Remember her? And then they did the Pursuit of Porsha, which I remember everybody dragged that show down to the ground, saying that whole show was a hot ass mess. And then they had they wound up getting married, and he proposed to her on May 2021 after dating for just 1 month. So it kind of makes you wonder, what was the rush for them to get married? And then now all this stuff comes out. Y'all been married a year, and now, which I heard that when it comes to marriage, aren't you supposed to have like the whole green card situation situated before, like it takes about 2 years or something or another? So I don't know what happened with that. But anyway, so I have to say this is quite strategic on Portia's part, because remember, it wasn't that long ago we found out that she was the first one to sign on for the Real Housewives of Atlanta 16th season reboot. And then she has a future overall deal with NBC Universal. And then maybe not even a week or two later, here comes this stuff about Simon, and his criminal past and him sneaking in and out of the country with fake visas and IDs and all kinds of criminal scamming shit that a lot of Nigerian people get accused of, which is why I said y'all playing a lot of them stereotypes. There's always a little truth and some stereotypes. I know people get mad over it, but I'm like, if them stereotypes didn't exist, we wouldn't have to run around with them. Every demographic has it. And the Nigerian one mainly is always y'all out here pulling scams and identity theft and all that other mess. So I'm not surprised that she would pull this divorce thing. I think she's pulling a divorce thing as a way to like slither her way out of whatever may happen. Because if her name is on the situation with him, she may get pulled into some shit in the courtroom, and you may end up in a situation like Joe and Teresa Giudice. Don't forget about them, because there was some paperwork they found out about him, and he comes to find out he's illegal too. He didn't have his proper papers. They deported his ass to Italy because that's where he was born and raised. But now he lives in the Bahamas, and he said the reason why he moved to the Bahamas was because it's an easier flight for his daughters to get from New Jersey to the Bahamas versus having to get on a plane and get to Italy. It's probably like you probably got to transfer one plane to another. There's probably a lot of stuff, and you don't want to. And I understand, like as a dad, you don't want to put your kids through all of that back and forth with the plane. So whatever you want to do to make it easier for them and accommodate them, that's good. And that's good on his part that he's been able to rehabilitate and rebound himself. Now, him trying to get back in the country, I don't know if that's going to happen. But let's get back to Simon. I'm glad him and Porsha they don't have children. I'm not, Porsha, you cannot tell me that there was love was the reason why you got with Simon. Because we know what Simon looked like. And ain't nobody like a Porsche gonna marry a Simon unless he got some money. And then that she found out the tea and all the other stuff that's coming out about him, now it's like I gotta distance myself. The pomp and circumstance that he been showering you with for the past year. I'm taking you on countless trips and y'all doing all this other stuff. Now the jig is up. Now you've been exposed. The wizard in Oz has been revealed, and it's Richard Pryor. Not a real wizard. So now that the jig is up, now you want to sit up in here and backpedal and pussy pop and save face. So Porsha, you may I was gonna say she may like to play dumb, although I do think that she ain't playing. I see through your Maybelline, sis. I see through it all. So it is a smart thing that you've been advised to do this, but now I hope at this point, once the ink is dry and you divorce, and that you can move away from that man and his bullshit, and he got to figure out another woman that he could try to get him a visa to come back into the country, that you use this opportunity for you to get on the Real Housewives of Atlanta to rehabilitate yourself in a way of like, because I always look at it as like, a lot of people look at these Real Housewives shows as just like vapidness and whatever, and at times it can be with the drama. Speaking of which, I need to catch up on Beverly Hills because I know the finale aired on Wednesday, I believe. Um, but one of the things I love about the Real Housewives women is the fact that when they come from that place of oh, I'm a housewife and I'm beholden to the man. He's the one that has the money. He's the one that tells me what I can do and how I can, I gotta beg him for money or the card so I can go shop and do whatever while he off doing all the bullshit he doing. Like it was like a Kelsey Grammer and Camille Grammer type situation. Oh, I just put her on the show so she can leave me alone and you can run around there fucking that other woman that you was fucking that we later on found out on the show. Season 1. When what is it? Miss Dubois had to get her ass together. We was getting Kyle together, but ended up getting Miss Mamas together. But anyway, so what I love about the housewife because all the reasons. So I always got to get to the point. So what I liked about the housewives and all this stuff is when the women find their own inner strength without having to depend on that billionaire husband, that businessman husband, to be able to get the Chanels and all that other stuff. I always like about the housewives that the women find their own independence as a woman. So Porsha, this is your opportunity for you to do that. This is your opportunity for you to use this opportunity to turn your lemons into lemonade and show that, you know what, I am starting to do this for me and not trying to live for your mother with them crooked ass wigs she be wearing, where she always trying to push a man on your ass and thinking that you got to find you a wealthy man or whatever the case is to keep you whole and complete. Because her mother do that too much. And I'd have been like Whitney Houston and waiting to exhale when she said to her mother, he a good man, Savannah. Well, then you fuck him then. Remember that? That's what I would have to do to my mother at one point if she gonna be something there doing that. But he a good man, Savannah. Okay. But then you fuck him. You marry him. But I'm not gonna sit and settle for no bum because he got a good job and he got good credit, but he a damn cheater. Or he's an abuser. Or he's an alcoholic. It's like, no, we're not doing that. Because that's the problem with the boomers. The boomers done pass that shit down, and that's where all that generational trauma and stuff come from. Where you pass that down to your kids, and what kind of example are you setting for your daughters? Where they got to sit up here and thinking it's okay for y'all to be out here just accepting motherfuckers because they got a good damn job and you got good security if you stay with his ass long enough and tolerate the bullshit. I don't think so. A new day is coming, or a new day has come, in the words of Celine Dion. All right, so let's get to the comments. Cheryl says, not surprised. Of course not. I wasn't surprised either. I was just wondering how long it was going to take. Quite sidebar. I actually, when they said a year that they were married, or a year, maybe 15 months, I'm like, I thought they was married I thought it was longer than that. Like, I thought they was together. I actually thought 5 years. When they said it was just a 13 months, I'm like, that's it? Or 14, 15 months? I'm like, well, I guess maybe because I ain't give a damn. Or I didn't really. I watched maybe 2 episodes of Pursuit of Portia, but after that, I'm like, this show is stupid. I don't care. I don't think she just found it. I mean, could you be that dense where you really didn't know anything that goes on with your husband? But then again, if he had rushed to be like, oh, they just dated for a month and then he proposed, and she's like, yes, we're a lot of times, when people do go in with rose-colored glasses, and Portia gives me very much like she a ding ding. I mean, you actually thought of Long Island Railroad, the Underground Railroad. I'm sitting there thinking about New York because I'm in New York. The you actually thought there was an actual train in the Underground Railroad, and you say super so when your grandfather was a civil rights leader. You should be ashamed of yourself. But I do agree with that. It's like maybe you know what, just to play devil's advocate, or not? Is it devil's advocate? Well, maybe just to play or entertain. I'll say your question. Maybe she did just find out about the past because sometimes I think women like Portia, very vapid, all about just shower me with gifts and Louis Vuitton and diamonds and stuff. People who get all caught up in trying to be treated and pampered like a princess. A lot of times, the red flags are there, and you'll overlook it because you like the pomp and circumstance of it all because you get to show off and show out on social media, making it seem like you got it like that. But then when you get egg on your face, then all of a sudden you want to change your tune, and then you want, oh, I didn't know I'm gonna get a divorce, and all that bullshit. But I'm not buying it. But she probably did just find out because a lot of times men will play up and put on this performance where it's like, oh yeah, I got it like that because Joe was doing that to Teresa. He was doing so much where he was trying to please her and give her whatever she wanted because and that's when This is why y'all gotta watch what y'all be doing on this damn TV because y'all think the IRS they just sitting in office crunching numbers and making sure okay this bitch ain't paying any tax. They watch television too. They got lives outside of the IRS and sending all them bills and what how much money we owe and y'all owe and everybody owe. They watch television too. So when y'all say some dumb shit, you don't think they about to pring, call up the phone and then be like, we need to investigate these hoes over here and start opening up a case because they're saying a whole lot of stupidness on TV and they thinking that they above it all because y'all showing out on television and nobody's gonna catch your behind. And then we saw what happened. They both went to jail and that sort of thing. So maybe I'll say on one hand, maybe she didn't know, but on the other hand, I believe she knew them red flags was there, but chose to ignore it because it was all about the pomp and circumstance of it all. And some people like all that. They'll overlook anything just because if they get to show off the shiny, pretty little thing. And then you end up in a situation with Erica Jane where she fighting about some damn earrings. um and it was like ding ding ding, not ding ding. Was it ding ding? We talking about Porsha being a ding ding. I do love that word though. This old ding ding. All right. So let's get to the big, big, big story. Speaking of ding ding, let's get to the big, big. Go from ding ding to big, big. Let's talk about my girl, Wendy Williams. How you doing? You know, it's unfortunate she's not going to be able to say, how you doing anymore, but we're going to make it work on this here show. So we finally have an update, excuse me, on Wendy Williams. So a couple of days ago, I think it was like, was it yesterday or Wednesday? All I know is I couldn't wait to come up in here and do this show or this episode to talk about this, but unfortunately I was busy yesterday. Like I had so much stuff going on. I wanted to do a show yesterday, but I couldn't because it was going to fit my schedule. So I was like, look, good things come to those who wait. You don't always have to rush out and say the thing to get just so that when you get the algorithms and stuff going up because way more came out since then and I don't have to keep doing like 7 damn videos of the same topic. Which I remember when EJ, who used to produce my show before I started doing it on my own and stuff, he and I would always have conversations off camera, and we'd be like, "Well, all the stuff, all the stories and stuff, and all the things that I talked about with Wendy Williams, I could do a whole. You could stitch all them episodes together, and we could put out a 2-hour, or maybe I think at this point it could be 3 hours, a 3-hour video going, about from the beginning to where we are now." So they did an article with People Magazine, her family, and 2.5 years, we didn't know what was going on. We had an idea. Well, I did. I'll say it. There were some signs that were there that I kind of figured out what may have been her issue, but now we know. But I want to lay down the foundation. So in the People cover story, her family is speaking out about what went down during the dark period as the current dark period as Williams' life dissolved or devolved into the exact kind of drama she once would have gossiped about during her top hot topic segment. Saying we've all seen the images over the past few months and really few years of what has seemed like a spiral for my aunt. This is what Williams's niece, Alex Finney, who also appears in the new Lifetime documentary Where's Wendy Williams, premiering on February 24th. It was shocking and heartbreaking to see her in this state. Now, when the Lifetime documentary crew began filming in August of 2022, it set out to follow Williams' comeback as she prepared to launch a new podcast. The film quickly evolved into something entirely different as the crew captured Williams, who served as an EP on the project, in the throes of alcohol addiction and struggles with health issues, including Graves' disease and autoimmune disorder that could cause bulging eyes and lymphedema, a condition that causes swelling in her feet. A particularly gut-wrenching scene shows Williams, who turned 60 in July, asking her driver to take her past the former Wendy Williams show studio, forgetting that she had done so only moments earlier. I don't know what the hell is going on. Her driver says in the documentary, I think she's losing memory. She doesn't know who I am sometimes. The documentary crew stopped filming Williams in August of 2023. That month, she entered a facility to treat cognitive issues, her manager and jeweler Will Selby says in the film. Her son reveals in the documentary that doctors have connected these issues to alcohol use. Williams remains in the facility to this day, and her family says that a court-appointed legal guardian is the only person who has unfettered access to her. Her family said that they don't know where she is and cannot call her themselves, and she can call them. Because I did see, if y'all didn't see the View yesterday, Wendy's niece Alex appeared on the episode, and I'm actually glad that Alex is out here being the spokesman, because Alex is also someone who plays in media. She is, I believe, a news reporter or something or another, because I remember Wendy bringing that up. I don't necessarily know what her exact title is. Journalist, someone who gets on the news, sits in the chair like she was Roz Abrams. I'm gonna give y'all an old name. Sue Simmons. I don't know what her position is, but I know that Alex is someone who also works in media. So we'll say that. Um, so I love the fact that she's been going around talking about herself. And that episode of The View yesterday was really good, especially with Sunny, with the legal hat and saying all the stuff that she was saying, and Whoopi basically showing, real concern, because, she is a friend to the show over there. So I do love the fact that Alex is out here talking to whatever. But anyway, let's get back to this. So she also revealed that her mother, Alex's mother, Wanda, who is Wendy's older sister, um, said that she wants to take care of her sister, but I don't know how the conservatorship got to where it is. And then I remember they were also, and where the family can't even have a say so on what's going on. And then another thing that they brought up was the fact that um with the conservatorship and everything, it's like, well, I understand why Wells Fargo put the stop on the money, because something was going on with the finances and stuff, and they had to like block it and whatever's going on. But if this conservator is doing all the stuff she's doing, her name is Sabrina, by the way. Yeah, I'm putting her name out there. They won't say it, but her fucking name is Sabrina, so we're gonna put it out there. If she's doing all this other stuff, then how come you don't have access to the money? How come there's so many people that's around Wendy that's taking advantage of her, where she can't even um make executive decisions? And I know a lot of people are getting irritated because they're like, well, I don't like the fact that they're doing this movie because it's exploitative. I don't think it's exploitative at all. Okay, so we'll say this. It's partially exploitative because, and I think people look at it this way because you're looking at it from a standpoint of you're seeing something that is making you uncomfortable. So when you see something that makes you uncomfortable, it makes you feel uneasy, you're going to automatically say it's exploitative. So on that point, I get it. But on the other hand, the way I'm looking at it is it's shedding a light on a huge problem that we have in this country. I can't speak for other countries. We're gonna speak for America. I think what it is, what it does is it's shedding a light on conservatorships and how these conservatorships, what they do to people. We saw what it did to Brittany. And thank goodness for the Brittany Army. I say my stuff about Brittany and that damn foyer turning, doing her pop dip spins and twirls with the rotted weaves and that runny ass mascara. But you know what? At least she's gotten herself out of that other stuff that she was with her no good ass daddy. Now, and the people that he was employing to take advantage of that girl. Now, we need the same for Wendy. Where is the Wendy Nistas, the big Wendy supporters that really support that woman? Like, there needs to be a way that we get up out here and get that bitch Sabrina to have to deal with the repercussions and find out who these people are that's in this circle that's taking advantage of this woman, that's allowing her to self-medicate with that alcohol, drinking whole bottles of liquor, knowing full and well she got lymphedema, she got Graves' disease, she has all these situations, and then we just found out that she has frontal temporal dementia and aphasia, which is the same disease that Bruce Willis has. And I remember I told her I met Bruce Willis a couple of years ago when I worked at the circus. I met him twice. I met him at the circus and I met him at the Live Free or Die Hard premiere. And he was relatively, he's a nice guy. And to see like him at this point where he's not going to be able to, he's going to be a shell of himself. So with that, what is I want to find real quick with what is frontotemporal aphasia. Um, it's basically a group of disorders that occurs when nerve cells in the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain are lost. This is according to Johns Hopkins Medicine. FTD can affect behavior, personality, language, and movement. Receiving a diagnosis has enabled Winnie to receive the medical care that she requires. This is what the statement says. The decision to share the news was difficult to make after careful consideration, not only to advocate for understanding and compassion for Wendy, but to raise awareness about aphasia and frontotemporal dementia and support the thousands of others facing similar circumstances. And so this is why I was saying, like, when it comes to that sort of thing, like that would be my worst nightmare to have to deal with that, where it's just like you don't have no kind of control over who you are. Like parts of the things that make your personality what they are just lost. Like, can you imagine being in Wendy's brain right now? She's probably like somewhere, doesn't even know where, like just off in a whole nother planet, whatever. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's just like this whole connection, like you can't really fathom or connect or understand what people are saying to you. Because I saw that clip that's floating around of Black China having a conversation with Wendy, and she's talking about if you need, like, if anytime I'm going to come back and forth to New York to come visit you and sit with you and really converse with you, and I'm going to call you and do all this other stuff. And all Wendy could say to her while she ain't had her wig on, because here's the thing, Wendy would never approve of being on camera without her wig on. She always told y'all that. And if you're Wendy needs to, y'all know. So she's on camera with no wig on, looking like she got alopecia, the shit that Jada Pinkett claimed her ass had, but I don't believe that at all. I think, like everything else Jada Pinkett done said, she full of shit with that. Because where the blotches, all that stuff. But Wendy hair was given alopecia. But anyway, so watching that, the one thing Wendy could say was, "I'm Wendy Hunter," and she said some other stuff, and I'm just like, you clearly see like she's lost, like she doesn't know where she is. Like the dementia stuff was there. I knew that's basically what it was. Now we know, now it's been confirmed. I just didn't want to come out and say some stuff because I'm not a doctor and I'm not going to sit up out here and diagnose people, but the thought was in my mind, and I think the thought was in a lot of people who have been paying attention to these Wendy Williams stories for years minds as well. So all these other bloggers and YouTubers and all these other, I told y'all she had it, I knew she had um this disease. I knew she had dementia. Okay, good for you, bitch. What the fuck does that got to do with the price of tea in China? Good, kudos to you. You were right about something for once in your fucking life. But look, now the point is we know what it is. She's hopefully getting the right care that she needs, and she'll be able to do what she needs to do to get better. Now, as far as like her coming back to doing podcasts and that whole space, I don't think that is going to happen. I don't think Wendy Williams is ever going to recover from all the other stuff that she's got going on. There's no way in hell with someone with her disorder that should be able to even stitch together a couple of words to make a sentence and talk about celebrity news and gossip. We saw the trickling down of that. Like she would forget things when we watched the Wendy Williams show. We saw it. And one of the things about Wendy is, in my opinion, a mentor in my head. So this hurts my heart to have to even talk about this or to even bring this stuff up. And I see people talking about, oh, it's just her karma and karma and karma. Shut the fuck up. First of all, I don't know shit about karma. Karma is not just like, oh, if you I mean, I do believe that what you put out in the universe, you do get back. Like I do believe that. But the fact of the matter is like, I don't think anybody would wish this on their worst enemy because there's politicians and shit out here doing far worse than what Wendy's done and other people that play in this space that Wendy has built, the foundation that she's built in gossip, celebrity news, all the other space. There's a lot of people that play in those spaces that ain't get any of the shit that Wendy's going through. So when people try to equate that with karma and all that, miss me with that bullshit. First of all, none of y'all are out here are soothsayers. None of y'all are out here are shamans, rubbing rocks together and doing all that bullshit to, cast spells and stuff. I don't buy none of that foolishness. So I say all that to say, my heart goes out to Wendy. I feel for Wendy. I'm glad that her niece and the family are speaking out. I'm glad they're shedding a light on what Wendy is going through because um this is something that is, in the conversation that we definitely need to this is definitely something that we need to explore. But you want to know, so before I get to this next story about Wendy's guardian filing a lawsuit, I do want to let me just throw up the picture of the magazine if y'all want to go out and read it while I get to this next story. So Wendy's guardian, because I want to add to this, she has spoken out and filed a lawsuit against A&E television networks in advance of Where is Wendy Williams documentary. Now, Williams' representatives disclosed on Thursday that she has been diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontal temporal dementia. Now, earlier this month, Lifetime announced that it would debut a 4.5-hour 4.5 hours, child. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch. Two-night documentary. Where's Wendy Williams? It is scheduled to air on Saturday and Sunday. The lawsuit was filed in New York Supreme Court on Thursday by Sabrina Morrissey, acting in her capacity as temporary guardian of WWH, and named in the complaint is Entertainment One Reality Productions. The lawsuit sought injunctive relief, and records showed that A&E Networks filed an appeal this morning. Attorneys for Morrissey and A&E did not immediately respond to requests for comment. A spokesperson for A&E also did not immediately comment. The filings remain under seal. When the documentary was announced, a Lifetime release said, after Wendy Williams was placed in a under a financial guardianship, and her hit show was unexpectedly canceled, she was determined to make a career comeback, opening the doors to her private life like never before. Cameras chronicled her comeback journey to reclaim her life and legacy despite facing health issues and personal turbulence. With unparalleled access granted, by Wendy to film with her and her family for nearly 2 years, what was captured was not what everyone expected. The documentary provides a raw, honest, and unfiltered reality of Wendy's life as she was placed under financial guardianship, shedding light on the vulnerabilities that has turned Wendy into a hot topic herself, suffering mental and physical issues. Wendy's delicate state of mind, erratic behavior, and declining health were all captured by the cameras. Williams herself said the documentary, I'm going to tell you something. If it happens to me, it can happen to you. She's also an executive producer. So here's the thing. I do not understand why the hell Sabrina is filing the lawsuit. First of all, if you're going to file a lawsuit, you need to file it against your damn client, because she's the one that approved it. She's the one that sat and said that, she is an executive producer. And here's the thing. What also was pointed out, Wendy had a 3-picture deal with Lifetime. It was the Wendy Williams biopic, the Wendy Williams documentary that she did where she was spilling tea about her marriage to that no good ass Kelvin. And the third one is the documentary. She signed up on it. She approved of it. Just like Sabrina, I'm sure, be running around letting Wendy approve of some bullshit on people paying people that shouldn't be up in that circle to do whatever it is that they doing to that woman, self-harm and all that other mess. And I think the reason why Sabrina is of trying to file this lawsuit is because she don't want some stuff to come out that is going to have people's opinion of her be what it is, and then people gonna hit up social media and drag her ass. So that's what I think what that is. So that's why I think that's why she's filing this lawsuit and is trying to avoid this thing to come out. But this feels very similar to what was happening not too long ago. Remember when what was it? Griselda Blanco's family filed that lawsuit against Netflix. They ended up settling, but for the most part, and I don't think she's gonna get a settlement. So wishful thinking, sis. But Griselda Blanco's family filed a lawsuit against Netflix over that Griselda show, the miniseries, and they wound up settling whatever, as I stated before. But the show is still currently on Netflix, so you can watch it. Then the Wendy Williams documentary, y'all will be able to see it tomorrow. And like I said, I'm gonna be uncomfortable. I'm probably gonna have to really get myself to a space where I'm gonna have to hype myself up to watch it. But for the most part, yeah, I'm just gonna have to brace myself for what is about to come. My heart goes out to the Williams family. I'm here for I'm here for y'all because I don't know y'all, but my heart breaks for y'all. I'm rooting for you guys to be able to get a hold of Wendy and get her they said she's getting the help she needs, but there's got to be a way for her for Wendy to be able to communicate with her family and vice versa. It shouldn't be a one-way situation where it's Wendy, the conservator, is only allowing in calls for Wendy, but not out calls or people to call her back. So something's got to be done with that. And hopefully what this docu-series does is shed a light not only on this huge mental health problem we have in America, in our medical system and conservatorships and all that stuff, but also sheds a light on crazy family dynamics and how people who come from a lot of money get taken advantage of. So these are all the things everybody should be looking at, and not the surface stuff, which is, oh well, they're just exploiting her. Like, we need to look beyond that and look at the real root of why this story is being told in the first place. And I believe that my audience is intelligent enough to see that. Okay, so we got comments, and then let's get to, because we're going to talk about Sherri Shepherd and the drama that's going on at that show. Okay, so did I read this? Oh yeah. Also like to throw during a free conversation moment. Oh yeah, so happy anniversary. But shout out, y'all hear that stuff about Chili? What the hell's the name? Suge Knight said she got the herpes, and that's probably how Usher got it. And that's when they were saying like Left Eye had told people that that's why she had effed her man Dallas Austin, and that's why she put on a condom. And then B, people was dragging her on social media because she said she not chocolate. Really, she referred to herself as caramel. So people was getting mad at her. I think y'all was mad at her because she out here hunching that damn Lawrence brother. That's probably why people upset. But if she in her moment of being, I'm not chocolate, bitch, you dog. Stop it. Just because you dark skin with good hair don't necessarily mean that you ain't dark. You're dark. I said, yeah, I heard yeah, she does have the same condition as Bruce Willis. And then it's funny enough, looking back on it, I think the signs was there when I met him at the circus. But because it wasn't that long ago, it was like 3, 4 years ago when I worked there and that sort of thing. So and Cheryl says my mom passed on the same. Oh yeah, so yeah, condolences to you because I'm like I can't imagine a not only losing a parent but b watching someone lose themselves like slowly wither and away and deteriorate their whole personality the thing that makes you you is like I don't know what I would do if that ever happened to me. Like that's like that's just really scary to think about. That it's just like people who don't remember who they are, and it's like you're in this situations like you're repeating yourself or you're doing like I just cannot imagine anybody going through that. So yeah, my condolences definitely to you for having to deal with such a thing. Is that she needs a conservatorship. Yeah, she definitely needs a conservatorship. She's in a conservatorship. However, the conservatorship is similar to Brittany because she has someone who is looking out, who is watching over her that doesn't have her best interests at heart, according to the family. That this woman is being her money is being stolen, that she's got people in her inner circle that are ripping her off and robbing her blind, which is similar to what Brittany was dealing with. So while it may not be in the same in regards of a family member taking advantage of Wendy Williams, the conservatorship as a whole has someone in that conservatorship, which, when it came to Brittany, Jamie Spears was ahead, not ahead, in charge of that. So he was taking advantage of his daughter, according to the reports, and according to her being released from that. Same thing with Wendy. She has a conservator who, according to the family, is taking advantage of their family member. And how is it that immediate family doesn't have power of attorney or control over a situation or can't come in and save a family member, whereas some stranger that was employed that was plucked by whoever, I don't even know how Sabrina got the gig, so I have to do research and look that up. But how this woman get to have more control over an actual family member who used to see this chick butt ass naked when we was kids. That we used to play kickball and we used to do all kinds of like I know this chick better than anybody because that's my sister. Yet I don't have no control over my sister, some broad that just came up in here yesterday because they have more of a say so than me as a family. Fuck out of here. So no, it is similar, even though the situations are different. So it was like one of my best friends, and I mean, his mom had dementia, and it was wearing on him and his boyfriend, and she just passed away a couple of months ago. Yeah, and I'm sure like another thing too is like when that happens, you got to worry about like how that affects your relationship. Meaning that okay, so I'm trying to take care of my mother, and now she has to come live with us, and then it's like it's not only taking a toll on your relationship with your mother because you're trying to be that nurturer. And it's funny how a lot of times, you know, we as gay people have to deal with somebody mentioned this, said this the other day. Oh, I know what it was. It was this guy that was watching an interview. He was like, "Oh, my siblings and stuff, they all have their lives. They're married, they have kids, all the other stuff. But me being the gay child, that I had to come in and I gotta take care of my parents. Like I'm the power of attorney. I have to make all the decisions. I'm on the phone with them all the time because gay people pretty much have a lot of free time on their hands. A lot of time, if you're single or even if you're in a marriage with your own little situation going, a lot of times the gays will be the ones that immediately step in and take care of their parents, regardless of whatever the issues that y'all had in your past. You could have had a homophobic father, but then as he got older, he done released all of that because who else gonna take care of his ass? Not the other no ingrate ass siblings you got. So then he loosened the strings a little bit, and then you come in and you find out that's the way that you can rehabilitate your relationship. So I could totally see why, one of your friends was dealing with that because it wears on the relationship as well. So it doesn't only affect that one person, it affects everybody in that circle. And I'm sure Wendy's entire family is hurting over this. And that's why Robin Williams killed himself because he didn't want to put his family. Was he going through the same thing? Was he dealing with some type of, because I'm wondering, was he dealing with some type of cognitive issues? So it's like, a lot of times when people, or is it, well, cognitive, that's in the brain. So it's like, was it mental health? Was it any of that stuff? Like, because I'm sure, because Robin Williams was a lot. There was a lot of things going on with that brain. So, and when you using that much power in your mind to create the things that you create, I'm sure like when you come down from that high, it's a lot. So he probably, because I don't know, I don't want to diagnose him, but I could have, wouldn't be surprised if Robin Williams was suffering from some kind of, bipolar or something or another. Because when you use that much firepower in your brain, people don't realize like the highs are the big highs and then those lows. When you come down, it's hard to get out of that. People think they have. I believe they also probably do that. You know what? And that's why that's another similarity to Britney, that if you feel like that they have her drugged up, it could be misdiagnosis of drugs. It could also be self-medication. Remember, in the clips that we saw, she was drinking. You're out here, that's self-medication. So when you're taking all these prescription medications for your lymphedema, for all these other things that you have, your thyroid and all this stuff. Wendy's always talking about her medical stuff. And then on top of that, now you have cognitive problems when you're self-medicating with the alcohol. You're not supposed to mix alcohol with prescription medication. Yeah, people do it all the time. And this is the aftermath of that. So um I understand. So I definitely understand that. But I do wish that she had better support. But what Wendy's family is trying to support her, but I don't know. I guess what, I feel like the best way we'll get about it, because, like I said, we've been seeing her niece going around doing all the interviews. I feel like the best idea that we'll get of what's going on with Wendy is by us as a class watching, the docu series, and then we could pick apart and try to understand what's going on. If we could see like, okay, that we'll be able to determine the Williams family ain't shit, that conservator ain't shit, and all that other mess, or her family was right and that conservative is a mess. Wait, who had the wait, he did? Robin Williams had dementia? Oh, I didn't know that. Or maybe it's been so long ago I forgot. So I've been my grandmother's caregiver for 7 years. Let me tell you, I know why this disease is called the long goodbye. Can you say exhausted? I hope someone steps up and takes good care of her. Yeah, I actually hope so too. And yeah, it said, but Brittany was able to come out and speak for herself. Well, yeah, that's true. Well, as much as she could. But yeah, that was the thing. But Wendy doesn't, but the thing between Brittany and Wendy is Brittany doesn't have cognitive issues in the I had to choose my words carefully. Because when we see them videos, it's like, okay, the mental ain't all the way there. But the difference between her is she doesn't have this frontal temporal aphasia, this term of she doesn't have signs of dementia and stuff. So yes, Brittany is still able to come out here and speak for herself in a lot of ways. But um that's the good part about her. I don't necessarily know if Wendy's brain could fully recover from this, because we've heard the stories about Bruce Willis and what's happening to him, that he can't even talk anymore. That I don't know if he's confined to a wheelchair, so but I've heard Wendy is confined to a wheelchair, and that she sounds good and stuff, but I think she's in the early stages of the of this disease. Bruce Willis, I believe, is at a point where he can't even talk. I don't think Brittany has anyone supporting her. I wonder if she has friends to check up on her, because we never see her with anyone. And it's so hard to be a artist or entertainer, because it's like, who can you trust? Who is your real people in your corner that truly have your back? And to me, it's like, luckily enough, I could say like, if I was to ever get to that point in my life where I'm like at the status of a Brittany or a status of a Wendy Williams, um, that I have people in my corner who truly love and care about me and don't care about the pomp and circumstance, that care about the money, that care about all those stuff, and then it's not only in it to take advantage of me. And I think that's always the crutch in when it comes to celebritydom, and I think that's always kind of held me back on really going forward with certain things in regards of entertainment aspirate, like really putting my foot out, taking that leap, is because I always had those fears of the success, the big fame. When you become like that big person, who do you trust? Because as a Virgo, we're already cynical. We already have trust issues with people. So um I didn't want to. It comes to a lot of times when you have to deal with that, and I've had to chop so many fucking people in my life over the years. So yeah, there's that. But okay. So now let's get to these other topics, and then we'll come back to the other comments and stuff afterwards. And let's go from Wendy to Sherry. So a top executive on the popular daytime talk show Sherri has died in an apparent unaliving of themselves, while reportedly under investigation over his handling of the show's budget. Matt Uzzle, the executive in charge of Sherri Shepherd's eponymous, is it eponymous? I always forget how to say that word. Anyway, Sherri Shepherd's daytime talk show, let's just call it that. It's like all of a sudden I can't talk today. Was apparently found unalive in his Piermont, New York home on February 13th, a police source confirmed to Page Six. Police would not comment whether it was an open investigation, but Uzzle is believed to have died by taking his own life. Although his primary job was to manage production and oversee the budget, as Sherri was under investigation at the show at the time of his death. Sources told several departments have been sources revealed that several departments have been complaining about issues with petty cash, and was recently brought to parent company Deborah Mercury's attention that rent at the show's Chelsea studio in New York City haven't been paid since September. Bitch, hold the phone. Let me find out y'all been living rent free for 5 months. Let me find out y'all. They be doing that a lot in New York. But I'm gonna mind my business. We gonna keep reading. There was definitely, there was real concern among staff that the show was getting shut down. Deborah had to step in, a source familiar with the situation said. Another source told us that the show has not been impacted, and Deborah Mercury has continued production on Sherri. Also, who Shepherd inherited from the Wendy Williams show after Sherri replaced Williams' daytime program, says he needed a couple of days to get his paperwork together after Brass confronted him about the show's financial status, according to a source familiar with the situation. Sources told us police performed the welfare check after no one heard from him and found him unalive. A rep for Deborah Mercury did not reveal details about his death or personnel issues, but told us we have retained law firm Morgan Lewis to help us investigate the matter, and pending the outcome of that investigation, we'll have further comment. Well, I hope we find out what this is. Like maybe he had a gambling problem, maybe he had a drug problem, or maybe he was just falling behind on the rent. But I'm sure, like, what, they not paying good coin over there at the Sherri Shepherd show? Because I would assume that you doing these type of shows, they pay good money if you're on a talk show. But maybe he had some type of addiction issues or whatever was going on, and he was stealing the petty cash, and he wasn't paying, doing his upholding his job, his part of the job. And then when he got confronted, oh, I have to go get my paperwork. You was trying to run home and probably shred some paperwork, or figure out, oh damn, I'm caught. They're gonna find out what I've been doing. So yeah, because it's like when you start taking a little bit of money here, there, and everywhere, that shit adds up. People do pay attention. It happens in shows like Sherri Shepherd, and it happens at regular jobs where a lot of y'all be working that damn cash register, and you think them cameras ain't catching y'all taking a couple of dollars off the damn top. They waiting until you hit over that $1,000 before they take your ass, pull you in the office, fire you, have your ass arrested, and then you have to pay that money back with interest. I work many of regular jobs where I have seen people do this. I remember one time I worked at AMC in Times Square. Let me tell this story. I don't work for them people no more. They can kiss my ass. Um, anyway, because they made my life a living hell when I left that job. So that's why I'm gonna spill this tea. Um, I remember when I worked there, there was a group of people that worked in the box office, and what they would do was they would make it like they charge people for them tickets. So they would use your card, and then they would use another swiper that they had attached to the thing, and they was actually stealing their credit card information. And it was him and a bunch of girls that was working that shit too. Because I remember one time he went to the bathroom on the third floor, and I was working the third floor. I think I was working at guest services. because they always put me with the drama, and they're having to deal with the people and they damn complaining, which I don't mind because I like dealing with people in that way. So I was working the guest service or whatever, and I remember I seen he came out the back. He went in the bathroom. Cops was standing right outside that damn bathroom, waiting for his ass to come out, and they arrested him in his uniform and them girls that were stealing. So I was like, oh. So y'all be thinking that people not out here paying attention to when y'all be stealing that good coin off the top. Remember, at the end of the day, that shit ain't yours. You need to figure out whatever addictions, whatever issues y'all got going on. You need to make a little money. You need to pick you up a second job. You need to do whatever because it ain't worth it trying to get yourself thrown in jail over some stupidness. So, um, like we said, we don't have no more tea about this whole situation. But yeah, I will definitely keep you guys abreast because I'm definitely curious as to what was the reason. My Cardi B voice. What was the reason why he did what he did? But I do want to point out if you are someone was affected by any of the issues raised in this story, call or text the Suicide Crisis Lifeline at 988. So, like I said before, if you are someone is affected by any of the issues raised in this story, call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. I should have probably put this up as a damn. I need to make that as a banner in the future. But yeah, so yeah, that was me spilling. Look at me spilling tea. I got a story for every damn thing. Um, yeah, and I do like Sherri. I like Sherri Shepherd, even though I don't really watch her show. Like the way she is with her personality and something. I'm like, that's cute, whatever. My mother loves Sherri Shepherd. I love when she didn't like Wendy Williams show, but she did tell me she's gonna watch the docu series. I was more the Wendy fan because we like mess. My mother's very much positive, very much a church lady. Not, I shouldn't call her a church lady. She's very much, all about, God and being a good person and all other stuff. So she likes feel good things. She's not all about the negativity and stuff, is what I'll say. Um, so she likes Sherri in that context. Sherri with all that bubbliness, child, you be driving me to drink sometimes. I said, oh, that's a little too much. Like I need a little shade thrown in with my comedy. I think it makes us human. I can't be up in there. Like I can't be doing all that. I'm more, in regards of like happiness, I'm more Bianca Del Rio than I am. Who's a more bubbly chick? A bubbly drag queen on oh my god, what was her name? The black girl that was on that was always bubbly and she was always so damn positive on one of the seasons. She had, she's from New York. I think she wasn't on the season with Mistress Isabel Brooks. I think she was on the season before that one. But anyway, so yeah, I do agree. She did not deserve this, but that's messed up that she had to deal with that mess. But anyway, all right, so let's move on to our next comment topic, and let's talk about Andy Cohen, child. So yesterday, Brandi Glanville came out and posted some story about Andy Cohen allegedly propositioning her to watch him on FaceTime in a threesome and said that it was going to be with a Bravo celebrity. I was like, what Bravo celebrity you trying to hunch? So anyway, Andy is speaking out about it. And so this is courtesy of People. So they say in a letter sent to NBC Universal, Bravo's parent company, Warner Brothers and production company Shed Media on Thursday by Glanville's attorneys Brian J. Friedman and Brian J. Friedman and Mark Garagos. Who was the other celebrities that using them as their attorney? There was somebody, the big story was it Brittany that was using them? There was somebody I remember that was a big time celebrity that was using. I'm like, well, damn, Brandi must got some good money. She could afford them attorneys. But anyway, so it says the former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star claims that Cohen sent her an inappropriate recording back in 2022, saying Miss Glanville herself has been a victim of sexual harassment at Bravo by none other than Andy Cohen, which the letter that was filed in LA and obtained by People read. In a video sent by Mr. Cohen to Ms. Glanville in 2022, Mr. Cohen, appearing obviously inebriated, have you ever seen him any other way besides on the alcohol of the alleged booger sugar? Boasted of his intention to sleep with another Bravo star that night while thinking of her and inviting her to watch via FaceTime. On Thursday afternoon, Cohen, 55, issued an apology on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. No, it'll always be Twitter. I told him we dead named Twitter over here. And we continue to call it that. So fuck you, Elon Musk. Even though I'm streaming live on Twitter. The video shows Kate Chastain and I clearly joking to Brandi. It was absolutely meant in jest, and Brandi's response clearly communicated she was in on the joke. That said, it was totally inappropriate, and I apologize. A Bravo rep had no comment, but a source who saw the video tells people the clip was comedic in nature. No one in their right mind would think that anything Andy was saying in that video was meant to be taken seriously, says the insider. It was very clear that everyone was in on the joke. Glanville's attorney said Cohen remains in his post, continuing his work with Bravo and liking the production companies and network to another where profits were prioritized over people. Mr. Cohen was Miss Glanville's boss at the time and exercised complete and total control over her career. Freeman and Geragos called Cohen's actions, and alleged, I should say, actions, an extraordinary abuse of power that left Miss Glanville feeling trapped and disgusted. Now, the letter also referenced the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip season that Glanville participated in. Former Real Housewives of New Jersey star Caroline Manzo was also a cast member on the trip to Morocco, which has yet to air. Because y'all already know, y'all heard the story about Brandi allegedly assaulting um Caroline sexually, and Caroline also has a lawsuit against Bravo for what had happened with her on that show. I don't think she's suing Brandi, but she's suing the network for allowing the behavior to happen. And this is why I have said over the years, and I knew this shit was going to happen. It was going to turn up. Andy has a habit and a problem of getting too damn close and too damn loose with the fucking women. When I've been saying over the years, he needs to remember what position he has. Yes, you don't create and produce projects for Bravo anymore. You started out as an executive, you started out creating shows and being a part of that whole situation until you decided, oh, I don't want to be behind the scenes anymore. I want to be a star with minimal talent, but yet and still you want to be on, you saw your face in lights, you wanted to be famous, you wanted to be on camera, you want to do all those things, which is great, which means he had to give up that executive position and become talent, which is why he only makes money off the Real Housewives shows and then Watch What Happens Live. All the other shows that y'all see on there, Andy Cohen don't have no stake in any of that. He only owns the Real Housewives and all that mess, which is why he keeps creating franchises of them shows. And them shows, that whole franchise is about to be, they're all a bit tired at this point, except maybe a few. I am looking forward to Jersey. Beverly Hills definitely gave me my life this season. New York, y'all can throw that last season away. And the Ultimate Girl Trips and stuff is cute, but nevertheless, let's get back to this. So I've always said over the years, Andy gets too comfortable and too close with the women, and it's like you have to. Unfortunately, in business, this is why people get mad at RuPaul, because RuPaul is the type of person that don't really get too close to the girls and the queens and stuff on the show. But like, oh, I want you to be my mentor. I want you to do this. I'm a mentor you when them cameras is on, but when it's away, I have to keep my distance over here because I don't want y'all coming out saying. I mean, they end up saying shit anyway, but I don't want y'all trying to say that I was playing favorites or I was doing certain things or I was behaving a certain kind of way. And you have to be careful of that. And maybe it was meant in jest, but you have to realize that you get too damn comfortable with these celebrities like, oh yeah, I'm a drunk dial. You'll be like, you want to watch me eat this girl box? Like, you can't be talking to people and stuff like that. But I've been told y'all, me and being in this entertainment space, that the way that people in the entertainment industry act is way different than being in a professional work environment. Like if I'm working on Wall Street or whatever, and I'm sure they do their crazy stuff down there too. But in the entertainment industry, everybody's a little lax, everybody's too comfortable, and people say and do all kinds of crazy shit that you couldn't even imagine that would happen in a regular office space. So yeah, now that all this stuff is being exposed, people kind of look at it as a way of like, oh, well, they a little too, vindication. We need to hold people accountable. And yeah, in the perfect world, that's true. But in the entertainment industry, the way people behave and the way they talk and stuff is much different than they are in a regular office workspace. Not excusing Andy's behavior, but I just going to show in the future he needs to be real careful with how he hangs around certain of these women, what he says around them, conversations, all of that stuff. But we all know Andy is a gold star guy. He ain't doing nothing sexual with no damn woman. I believe he assault a Todrick Hall before I believe he would do some sexual harassment stuff to Brandi. But I just feel like Brandi grasping at straws because of what's going on with her and this whole lawsuit with Bravo. But girl, you better find another straw to pull because this one just it wasn't it. So you can be like Mr. Fantastic, and you and your attorneys can be like Mr. Fantastic and the Fantastic Four and do that long ass reach for something to kind of come at Andy. And any other time, I'll be here for y'all to come after Andy, call him messy ass. But this ain't it. Like this is not the right way to go at it. But if he don't keep it up, so I believe some other people gonna come out and start saying some shit about him, and he gonna end up unemployed or end up in a place where like his career is in the dumpster, like Jonathan Majors and so many others over the years. So I see we have a comment. Yeah, I don't particularly care for him. I mean, like I told some of y'all up in here who've been following me, Andy slept with a couple of people I know. That's how I knew that too about him in the Booger Sugar long before what the hell's her name? Kathy Griffin done spilled that mess. I knew that forget. But you know, when you're in the gay circles, we know stuff before it gets out to the mainstream media. So if you're around enough people, you know, me and my big ass mouth. Um, okay, now let's go from one messy person to the next and talk about Tiffany Haddish. So, oh God, this lady. Um, she sparked uproar online with her Israel trip because you know she mentioned on social media she's going to Israel. And she lost over 14,000 Instagram followers in less than 12 hours. I'm like, well, goddamn. I wasn't following her to begin with, so she ain't losing me. Tiffany Haddish said she's in Israel to observe for herself what's going on in Gaza, and she actually got choked up defending herself against her harshest critics. The actress comedian appeared on TMZ Live Wednesday all the way from Israel. I ain't calling it that. Telling her how her visit is already educating her on the war in the Middle East. She's full of shit and opening her eyes beyond what she's read in the news and seen online. Well, first of all, if she's talking about what she read on the news, you only got a one-sided account of what's going on, which is basically Israel good, Palestine bad. That's basically the what the media, the Western media particularly, has been spinning about this. And if she really wanted to know about what's going on over in Israel, what she could have did, she didn't even need to leave. You could have stayed in California. You know how many damn Muslims live in LA? I lived in Los Angeles. So she could have probably, if you don't know no Palestinians, you better find somebody who do. You could have had them come over to your house. Y'all could have had a conversation. You need to go all the way to fucking Israel, which you know they're not gonna give you the true tea. They're not gonna give you the full story on what's really going on over there. Like you could have had a conversation with Amanda Seals. That's somebody who's black, unless, you know, now because Tiffany Haddish done dyed her hair blonde, she don't think she a black woman no more. Um, and so you could have hit up Amanda Seals. You could have talked to so many other. You could talk to some philosophers. You could talk to a whole bunch of other people. Bart Lamont Hill. You could have hit him up and had a conversation. If you really want to talk to people about what's going on, maybe you could have sent you an actress. You could have hit up Melissa Barrera. She could have fed you in on what's going on over there, especially with her having to endure all the foolishness that she's having to endure. But the fact of the matter was, she trying to do all this to troll, to guess be funny. And the fact of the matter is, you trying to get in the good graces of damn white people so you can get you a fucking job. That's basically what she doing. So, miss me with this bullshit. I'm not surprised at what's going on over here with her and with that mess. And um, what has she learned? She says that folks were dragged from their homes and taken hostage during the October 7th Hamas attack. Not just that, but she explains how people were killed and kidnapped at a music festival, noting that while hundreds of hostages have been released, hundreds more still remain in captivity. So um she's learned all the things that of course has gone on in Israel. But bitch, did you learn anything about the outweigation of what's going on with the 30,000 Palestinians that have been dead versus the hundreds that were killed over in Israel. And I'm not trying to diminish one thing from another because murder is murder. I don't like any kind of genocide of anybody. I don't care who it is. We're going to talk about Israel. We could talk about Palestine. We could talk about the Congo because a lot of y'all be overlooking the black genocides too. So it shouldn't only just be about what's affecting the you fucking Crane and some goddamn Israel. Why is it that America only gets excited when it comes to like white people being wiped out? Because y'all are becoming the minority and the Latino community is becoming the majority? in the next couple of years, as we've learned from statistics. So, in some ways, I don't really like talking about politics and stuff too much. But when it comes with this type of stuff, I feel like people need to open their eyes and educate. And I feel like we're at a point now in our lives where all the things that we have been taught growing up, now that social media exists, all the things that we've been taught and that has been trickled down, not only just with what's going on with this whole situation, but religion. Especially when you're a gay person that's grown up and you have people telling you all this stuff about religion, and then you start to truly learn what religion was, the true foundation and the origin of religion, and why it was created to keep the minds of people enslaved, particularly black folks. But you can't. But no, I ain't gonna go there. I'm gonna just keep it at that part. Same thing with this whole thing with Israel and the whole Hamas war. I've had friends of mine who call like, I don't say anything because I really don't want to. I don't know. Not I really don't want to know. I don't know much about it, which I didn't either until I started taking the time to watch a lot of TikTok videos, which I noticed a lot of pro-Israel people are upset about, but I don't understand why, because it's like I want to learn both sides. What went on in Israel? What's the true thing of what's going on in Gaza, and what Netanyahu genocidal maniac ass is doing to them people over there? So when you start to unpack and learn the things, then you learn it. But some of y'all just want to say certain things because you don't want to lose your job in Hollywood, and that's what this trip was pretty much giving me. She don't want to lose her job. Whereas you get people that show you the true sides, like a Melissa Barrera and so many others, they get shadow banned and blackballed, which is basically what Meta's doing when you talk anything about the Israel Hamas war. People are getting shadow banned over this. So it's like every now and again, I gotta remember the people that I go to or people losing their jobs over speaking out about it. So I have to sometimes go over to those pages because they don't pop up in my feed when I'm scrolling through. Just as a reminder, have they posted anything about that? You know, TikTok was the one place where you had to go when you were getting the information, but I think in certain places they're getting shadow banned and out there as well. So um, people should have a right to say and speak what things they are. And luckily, I am friends with people on social media who really point out not only what's going on over there, but America's involvement in a lot of those things. So Tiffany is an idiot, per usual. Um, and I do, and she said that she's gonna find her husband over there. Well, hopefully she does, and she keep her ass there because we don't want her ass back in America. And take Amy Schumer fat housewife looking ass with you. Okay, so said that's what I said. How does he even have his job? Because Andy is basically like the Donald Trump of Bravo. Like anything he does over there, nothing touches him in that context. I'm not saying he a racist, even though he felt black men, but I. Yeah, I'm not saying he a racist or he does all the other stuff, but in the context of a Donald Trump who loves being on camera, showman, all the other mess, Andy's thing is he is basically the Donald Trump of Bravo, which is like anything that he touches, I was gonna say turn to shit, but anything that comes at him, he slithers through like a snake. I, what? Wait, what the hell's going on with? They don't want anything. Hmm. So they don't want anything to do. Nope. And said, wait, that bitch really went to Israel and learned nothing but made a video about eating kosher pickles. Child, you don't even need to go. You can go to Brooklyn and get some goddamn. Well, if you're from New York, you go to Brooklyn and get you some kosher pickles. You know how many Hasidic Jews live out there? You can get you some kosher pickles. Or shit, you don't even need to go that far. I eat kosher pickles. Kosher pickles is good. So that's why I said you go all the way to Israel. It was a whole BS pomp and circumstance sort of thing. So fuck that bitch. I never liked Tiffany Haddish. I have such a long list of unfunny ass comedians, and she is on the top. She could take her and Kevin Hart. All right, so let's lighten up the damn show because we've been talking. It's been a little heavy, and let's talk about Ricky Martin's feet, his foot fetish. But before we do that, can we just can we have a moment and just salivate over this fine ass man? Because Ricky is single. He's 50. What is he? 50, 51? Oh my God, this man is fine. Come on. Ooh. But look, okay, let me stop being a hoe. This is from his GQ magazine, the issue with the cover. There's a lot of pictures up in there. I posted on my social medias, but if you want, you can go to Ricky's Instagram and check out the pictures. But child, I was like, ooh, Ricky can get it. But anyway, so he's opening up about his love for feet, and he's very unapologetic about who knows it. So now the Living La Vida Loca singer who announced his divorce from husband of 6 years, Juan Yosef, last year, admitted in a new interview that he does have a foot thing, but he refuses to feel uncomfortable about it because we all have something we fetishize. He says, I love feet. I have a foot thing. I love foot massages, and I will kiss your feet like crazy for hours. But we all have something. Some have a fetish for armpits. My friend Miguel Jose, we not spilling tea. But those of y'all who know him from, when we talk and stuff on social media and stuff, I'm sure y'all see in my comments every now and again. He loves in some armpits. That's like one of his fetishes. And you can't have deodorant and stuff on either. So that's like his kink. And Ricky is right. We all have our kinks. I'll even admit I like feet at times, but they got to be pretty. They got to be clean and manicured, pedicured. Because pedicure is for feet. They got to be properly pedicured, no fungus, none of that shit, because you ain't going to have my throat closing up. I'm already sick as it is. But anyway, so yes, one of the things I love about Ricky is that he's openly admitting it, and Ricky got some pretty ass feet too. I'm sure y'all seen the pictures of his feet online, like good bone structure up in the toes, and them toes, straight, very much straight, like no kind of they ain't crooked, toes ain't giving gang signs and all that shit. Like his feet don't look like this; they look like this. Okay, let me not be messy and get serious. So he also said, so then he's also no stranger to sharing snaps of himself shirtless, so just in boxers or trunks, but a handful of posts. He's made sure that his feet are the main focus. In one post of January 2023, he zoomed up close to his toes as he enjoyed pedicure time. Unsurprisingly, the comment section was filled with thirsty people fawning over his pretty feet and sharing the foot emoji. You know what he need to do? Don't Erica, I mean, not Erica, Evelyn, because they pretty much, in my opinion, the same damn person. I was gonna say Erica Mena Lozada, but Evelyn Lozada has a OnlyFans where she just posts her feet. Maybe Ricky need to do the same damn thing, because this man out here with foot fetishes. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if I was like, I like toes and stuff too, but yeah, they gotta be cute or whatever, and I really have to be into you. So it's like if I'm tearing your booty up. I know it's probably gonna be graphic. If I'm tearing that booty up and that sex is so damn good and you so fine and I got you in the missionary position and you just like I will literally put your toes in my mouth. But let's keep it PG-13. So that was just a little but anyway. So as whether he shares photos of his feet specifically for his fans, he replied, let me like this comment and say I like your feet. I have no fans. I have fans who can draw my feet like a piece of art. They write to me, Ricky, I can recognize your feet a mile away. And I think also what it is that he looks at human anatomy, he looks at the male body as like a work of art. And that's why his body has been in shape for as long as it's had. And he looks so young for his age of being in his 50s. He's aging gracefully. Like him, Jennifer Lopez, a lot of them look pretty good for their age, which goes to show aging nothing but a number. It's probably he got some melanin up in him too, and he eats well and all that other stuff. Now, on a more serious note, the She Bangs hit maker who came out publicly as gay in 2010 also told about his rough coming out experience, including the time controversial journalist Barbara Walters pressured him over his sexuality during an interview in 2000. Although Walters later apologized for pressing him on his sexuality, Martin says the experience left him feeling violated, saying that gave permission to every journalist to ask, are you gay? I was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want people to know. I don't want know if it's internalized homophobia, but it was not my moment. But this is why I'm responding to things a little bit of time because I'm probably going to forget my train of thought. But I don't know if it was internalized homophobia. People need to realize that in the 90s, it was a lot different, or the 2000s, to be openly gay, especially as a male in pop music. And Ricky Martin was very good looking. He was well, still is, but back in those days, he's a good looking Latino male. You know that Latin machismo thing that we have in the community. There's a lot of that, and his career was just taking off, especially when he performed, what was it, The Cup of Life? I think he performed at the Grammys. And I think that was the year Madonna won the Grammy for Ray of Light. He got up on stage, I think he opened the show, if I remember off the top of my head. He opened the show that was the moment where it was like people just really finally saw Ricky for the star that he was, and America woke up and paid attention. The whole Latin explosion started. Madonna wanted to work with him and all this other stuff. So, and when you're at the height of your career, the last thing you want to do is be like coming out as gay and all that other mess, especially when you got people chirping in your ear. Oh, if you come out, your career's over. People still say that shit now, which it goes to show that that's not true. But because there are many people out here who's queer and has a career. Billy Porter's got a career. Lil Nas X has got a career. There's a Latin rapper, a reggaeton artist that I like called La Cruz. He's openly gay. I like his music. His career is doing pretty well. There's a lot of people out here who's doing what needs to be done. But anyway, so yeah, she did open that up, and I could understand how that was at that time because people was not feeling gays back in the 2000s. So he also revealed that at the height of his fame, at the turn of the millennium, close friends told him coming out would end his career. He agreed that his success wouldn't have been the same had he come out in 1999, but added, "There's no light in the closet. Every time I see an adolescent coming out, I'm like, you're so lucky because you don't have to deal with this ever again." And I could totally, like I was saying, I can get that, but I don't think I pushed further. Is the fact that I don't think it was internalized homophobia, or maybe it was a little bit, but also it's just like people should have to people should come out when they're ready. He wasn't ready at the time. So you have to give people the grace and the time and the moment to come into their own or come to terms with who they are as a person before they're like, okay, I'm ready and I'm comfortable enough to come out or whatever. And he didn't come out until like his career was set. So some people do it that way, some people come out at the height. It's all about bravery at the end of the day. So um in 2010, in a message to fans on his website, he came out as a proud and fortunate homosexual man. Reflecting on the message, he said, "It felt amazing. Can you come out twice, three times? I wish I had done it before. Yesterday is forever beyond our control. There's nothing you can do um, about where we've lived." So he says that. I was like, oh, I want to open up. I was like, let me see if this works. Oh, did I switch it? Yes, I did, bitch. I was like, oh, that was the first time I did that. Was trying to figure out, I was like, can I switch to another picture while I was doing? Look at me figuring out how to produce on the fly. So anyway, let me continue. So Martin also recalled how when he was still closeted and on the verge of global superstardom, he tried to convince a partner that they should run away together and avoid the spotlight. He says, "We were 20. I told him I'm gonna quit everything. Let's move to Europe and just be. I don't care about this." He goes, "Your path is evidence. I see your future. I love you, but we can't." And it was good that that person saw that in him. But I would love to kind of have that. It's like, you know what? Let's run away together. I love you and all this other stuff. I will give up everything. Let's go move to where would I move? Either to Spain or Mykonos. Those would be my top two choices. And every now and again, when I want to really unleash my inner hoe, we going to Berlin, Germany. But anyway, so he said the singer also said that he enjoys being single now for the first time in years and is even having fun meeting guys at parties, but he's staying away from apps like Tinder and Grindr. I love the fact that, and you know what? I love that. I love the fact that he doesn't shy away from his sexuality and sexual desires, which, in my opinion, so many gay men do. And I love the fact that here's someone who is comfortable in his sexuality, being like, if you got a fetish, embrace that fetish, love that fetish. Don't be scared of your fetish or let people shame you into you liking feet. Or, in my opinion, I like feet, but my fetish is ass. Like if you got a nice big booty, child, I'm gonna have at some time I'm gonna have to put my mouth on it. No shade. I'm just saying. I know it's a little TMI, but whatever. We're all grown and sexy in this room. So, um, with that being said, I'm glad, yeah, avoid Tinder grinder stuff because I know a lot of celebrities always say, "Oh, I got kicked off Tinder or whatever the case is because people thought I was impersonating a celebrity." So people don't even believe when it's really you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe we need to introduce um him to sniffies or blowers if you're into oral. There's blowers. There's then I just heard of a new one. A friend of mine told me there's a new app that's similar. I said, you know what? Once sniffies come out with their little situation, everybody want to jump on with their own. So we got blowers, which is for the people who are oral linguists, and then we have people. And there's one called Backdoor, and I'm sure you can pretty much guess what backdoor is for. Because you in the words of Vivica Fox, you can put that where back there. So I wonder if that's what that is, just for like you want to just throw your ass in a circle and that's all you want. It's just anal. Just come, flood me out and then get out my house. So I say all this to say, congratulations, Ricky. I love the fact that you are owning who you are, embracing your sexuality. Because once you get in your 50s, I don't know because I ain't there yet, but I'm looking forward to turning my 50s where I can really turn up and not give a fuck what people think in regards of like how I live my life. Well, I kind of sort of don't now, but just like owning your being a man and being sexual and being free. And it's like, oh yeah, it's the first time in a long time I felt like I really love being single. So y'all think this might be like he's going through a midlife crisis? It was the fact that I'd rushed into this whole thing with Juan. Maybe he had this idea of like, oh, I wanted to have a husband and all the children because I think they have like what 4 kids together. Well, he has the twins with himself. Then he wound up having the 2 other kids with Juan, but Juan embraced all the kids like they're his own. So the other thing that maybe it was like with him or whatever, it's like, he liked the idea and the pomp and circumstance of being a husband and being married and having the kids and trying to show heterosexual America or the straight community that, oh yeah, we can be married and we can have kids and we can do all these things and show y'all that we could be married. But child, my whole goal in life is not to sit up out here trying to prove anything to anybody. At some point, I gotta just do me and live my life. And you realize that marriage is not for everybody. Marriage is not an easy thing to navigate in this world. And now it's like, you know what, we can co-parent, but I like my freedom. Like, or what I remember, I don't know if Robert and I was, because we talk a lot about stuff, but I don't know if it was Robert, but I think it was the fact that Ricky gives me very much that he wants an open relationship. I think Ricky gives me open relationship tease. He's a very sexual man, as most Puerto Ricans are. I've slept with enough of them to know this. um, he's a Puerto Rican man. They have that high sex drive. And after a while, and it's no shade, this is why I can't do relationships either, because I'm gonna be honest. I cannot have sex with the same person for the rest. Like when I look at my parents and I love them, but it's like, how can y'all be fucking the same person for years? I'm like, I need new booty. Like we can be married and like other things, but also we got to be able to invite somebody else in the bedroom. And I got to taste, every now and again, I love chocolate, but I don't want to just eat chocolate all the time. Every now and again, I want vanilla, I want a little strawberry, I want a little Neapolitan. You got to switch it up. So you having sex with the same person. I'm like, okay, I already know your ticks. I already know the things you like, all that stuff. But I just like, I like that dopamine, that rush of just like trying different stuff. Because I don't really think by nature we are conditioned to just be one person with one person for the rest of our lives. But if that's the avenue you choose, I'm not judging. But I'm just saying for me, it's just like I need to taste the rainbow, like the Skittles. So that's all I had to say on that. I don't know. I just went on this whole tangent about but good luck to you, Ricky. I love, like I said, I love all this stuff that you're coming out with and all this tea you spilling. It just, to me, it just humanizes you more and more feet pics. And if y'all definitely need to see them pictures, definitely check out the photos of him in that photo shoot on his IG. Okay, so we have comments. Slurping them inside and out. I said, well, it's because people are still afraid of their careers being affected. And yeah, and luckily enough, I guess Ricky has built such a foundation with his career that he doesn't care if he loses fans or money in certain situations because what other companies won't work with you, there will be new companies that will pick you up and want to work with you and endorse whatever it is you're doing and cut you a check. Same thing with fans. If you come out tomorrow's gay, any celebrities that's out there, if y'all come out the gay tomorrow, because I remember when Billie Eilish, that whole story came out about her being into women and all this other stuff, they said she lost thousands of Instagram followers. Okay, well, bye. Because the amount of Instagram followers you lose because they're homophobic, you'll gain new ones that are like, oh, well, now I see somebody that's like me that is a representation of that. So now I want to follow them and be like them. So your loss is always going to be somebody gain. That's the way I see it. Madonna did the song with him on his album. They recorded right after yeah, because it was like she wanted to capture that moment, and I think it was because of that whole like everybody saw it that night. It wasn't just Madonna sitting in that chair in the front row in them purple pajama pants because that's what I refer to them as, and she was just like really into it. Because I was watching her, like she was sitting like a dude with the legs open, like just doing that. Like Jada Pinkett at that time when she be going to them sports games with Will. Like remember that picture? There's a picture of Jada out there where she like sitting there with her legs all caught over, like she got a whole lot of meat between her legs. Maybe her coochie is fat. I don't know. But she was sitting there with the like really intensely into it. And then right after it was like, I gotta capture that moment. And they did. So no one wants to be forced out of the closet. I remember a girl tried to out me in high school. Yeah, and that's the worst because it's like when people do that, it's like, oh yeah, I want a gotcha moment. It's like, okay, well, that helps you, but how does that help the person who is personally struggling with their sexual orientation? And this is why we have a lot of those issues of people taking their own lives. There's so many stories that we've had. I'm sure we've talked about it on the show. I've mentioned it many a times where people take their own lives because it's like, um, you're outing them when they're not ready to be outed, and you don't necessarily know how, depending on where you live, that it's going to be received, especially when those of us who are aware, and I'm lucky I never had to go through that, but I know situations of a lot of gays during growing up during my time, and I'm sure it still happens when they find out their child is a lesbian, a gay person, or even trans kick them out in the street. They out here fending for themselves. Like the peers used to be prominent back in the day, in the West Village in New York, where it was like the kids come out here, they having to resort to prostitution, so underage prostitution going on because they gotta survive and help support themselves or whatever, or they end up in a house or whatever being taken care of. But a lot of them resort to street work, sex work. A lot of them resort to drugs. A lot of them resort to a lot of those things. So, um, love your children, people. I feel so bad for gays who grew up before being gay was easier. You know, many are married. Yeah, because I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. So um I understand what that was, and it wasn't easy. So that's why I totally understand um what Ricky Martin was going through at that time. And people really need to understand because yeah, it's so much easier now. Which is why I be looking down on that damn Gen Z and Gen Alpha when they start they bullshit with these all these pronouns and all that foolishness. Um, because I'm like, y'all not gonna sit up in here and try to just wash away and diminish all the things that my generation and my generation before that had to deal with. Unfortunately, a lot of the mentors that existed in like the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s aren't really around. Luckily, I was old, I was able to find a lot of older gay friends who nurtured me and helped me out in a lot of situations when I didn't know what it was like. Because you have your regular family that teaches you how to be a man, but how do you deal with being a gay male of color, especially growing up in New York in like in the 90s and the 2000s when I was old enough to be able to go out and hang out and all that other stuff. So um so there's a lot of those that you have to deal with in those times. So luckily I was able to find a lot of those older gay mentors because you have to realize during the AIDS crisis a lot of older gay people died. So there really isn't a lot of mentors that really exist out here that can tell you that stuff. And luckily I do have a lot of friends who are older who tell me stuff, and I listen to them and have learned so much. I remember when Neil Patrick Harris was going to come out, he waited because he was afraid. Did he get dragged out of the closet by Perez Hilton? There was a lot of people that got dragged out the closet by Perez Hilton. I think also Lance Bass was dragged out. And then there was the guy, damn, what was his name? From Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I think he got dragged out because they caught him in a pool making out with a dude. And he got dragged out of the closet. He played Donald Strachey in one of them them gay mystery movies that I used to watch on Here TV. So I have not seen Far From Heaven, by the way. So by nature, we weren't supposed to, well, we aren't supposed to live this long, but now with all kinds of stuff going on, everybody living, like I told you, I got a family member that just died. She was like, I think she was like 105. So I got family members that have lived a long time. So speaking of dopamine, yes, I saw it the other day. I posted the picture on my social medias and stuff. I'm actually looking forward to Normani's album. I know I was being shady back in the day, like, bitch, what are you doing? What's taking you so long? But I feel bad now because what it was is that her mother and father both had cancer or had it, I believe, and she couldn't. she was basically putting them before the industry. And look, this industry is fickle. These people be acting mad weird and shit. My thing is, you only get one parent, a mother and a father, and I'm gonna put everything on hold for my family. The album can wait. I just hope the music is. I just hope the music does what needs to be done when it comes out. I remember you telling me that story, but yeah, that's why I said it's like the things that you have to. That's that. These are the crazy things that you have to deal with. So, oh yes, Chad Allen, thank you, because I could not remember his name. It said Dennis Quaid and Julianne Moore as husband and wife, and Dennis's character is gay and in the closet. Well, I always had a crush on Dennis Quaid. That was a fine ass man back in the day. I know his son is a big actor now, Jack, who was the killer in Scream 6. I mean Scream 5. Now, if y'all ain't seen that damn movie by now, don't get mad. Because the movie been out for like 3 years already, I think. Or was it two? I'm not sure. Wait, it came out. Wait. Scream came out last year. Scream 6, right? March. It would make a year that movie came out. Okay, so 2 years. Y'all had about 2 years in that damn movie. Because I remember back to back, they came out so damn quick. I think 2022 is when Scream with the Jenna Ortega and all of them came out about 2 years ago. But anyway, so yeah, y'all had enough time to watch that damn movie. But yeah, his son is in that film. His and Meg Ryan's child. Okay, so we got three more topics and we are out of here. So let's talk about um Queer Eye. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about who's gonna replace and all the other stuff because but Pink News had this tea. So it says that Jeremiah Brent has spoken out about rumors that he's replacing Bobby Burke on Queer Eye. Burke announced back in November that he'd be leaving the Netflix series following its 8th season. The design expert has been a member of the Fab Five along with Anthony Porowski, Jonathan Van Ness, Karamo Brown, and Tan France since the reality show premiered back in 2018. But rumors swirl that France being the reason that Brent was leaving the show after a situation. Wait, I think they made a mistake. It said France being the reason that Brent, because that's Jeremiah Brent. I think what they meant was Burke. So there's a mistype in their article. So they were saying the reason that why Bobby Burke was leaving Queer Eye was because he and Tan France were not getting along on the show. But then, because there was a situation that went on and how people started to notice the sleuths on social media, there was something that was posted on there. I think it was promoting the recent season that's currently on Netflix. France, Burke had tagged everybody except France's regular Instagram. There was an old Instagram that they said hadn't been used in years. That's the one he tagged, which made people realize that they were, I guess they weren't following each other or they blocked each other. So Brent, who is an interior designer and TV personality and is married to Nate Berkus, has opened up about his potential future on the series. The Nate and Jeremiah Home Project star has been at the center of replacement speculation, and people asked the 39-year-old about the rumors in a February 20th interview. While the star didn't confirm or deny whether he would be joining the rest of the Fab Five, he said he's definitely open to being on the series. I'm open to anything. I love those boys. I'm friends with them, and I've got a lot of respect for what the show does and what it represents. It's what matters most to me about design, so you never know. I'm open to anything that life presents. And it said, in terms of what's next for the former Queer Eye star, he already confirmed being on multiple other projects outside the show. Burke was spotted on the same table as Property Brothers Jonathan Scott and his wife Zoe Deschanel at the February 4th Grammys viewing party. After Scott and Burke were photographed together and spotted engaging in conversation at the event, reports suggest that Burke could be making a move to HDTV. Well, I could definitely see, like, because he does home good stuff. So I knew that Bobby Burke was going to go to HDTV. Where else would he go? Like, that makes perfect sense. Not to the Lifetime Network, not to the DIY network. He going over to HDTV. And I do like a lot of the home goods stuff. Like I always like me, you ain't never gonna see me putting no house shit together. Like I'm gonna hire somebody to do that. But I do like because I'm like it looks like a whole nother foreign language to me. So I'd rather just have people do it or call my father. Like my father is really good at constructing and putting all that stuff together. Me, I don't have the patience. And people who know me know this about me. But anyway, so Jeremiah being a part of the show, I said that he would be a perfect choice. I said him or his husband, Nate Berkus. Like it makes sense that they would have one or the other. They might want to skewer younger because Nate is um I don't know how old Nate is, but I'm thinking mid to late 40s. And Jeremiah is younger. So they might want to have another younger guy on the show besides Anthony. I think Anthony is the youngest on there. And a lot of the guys on the show already in their 40s and mid, younger 30s. And you want to have somebody that kind of knows each other and they connect and all this stuff. So why not have them on? Or him on. So it makes perfect sense that they would replace him. Or could we get another black person? Because why is Karamo the only black representation? But then again, we do have two people of color on the show, right? We have him, and then we have Tan. So, regardless of what they do, I'm definitely curious to see who they choose for this next season and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic and talk about the rumored cast of RuPaul's Drag Race Canada versus the World Season 2. So currently, if y'all love the drag queens and the drag race, y'all know I love me some drag race. I even just started watching All Stars 2, which is, the infamous season when Fifi tried to rehabilitate her career. And girl, you was pretty much like you were trying to. That was the first time I think people was trying to come around and produce themselves for TV, but you failed miserably. And now so many of the girls be trying to do it. Plain Jane's the latest, be out here trying to produce herself for that damn show. But Fifi was the first villain that was trying to rehabilitate her career, and it fell flat. Production was like, bitch, you're not going to sit up in here and try to play us for a fool. It said we would have given you the same grace as Roxy Andrews, which Roxy did it the right way. She genuinely seemed like she was trying to change after what she did to Jinx during her season. But Fifi, when she tried sabotaging, and I told you I'm watching All Stars soon now. But she tried sabotaging some of the girls on the show and then try to blame Alyssa for eliminating her. I'm like, bitch, she wasn't the only one that eliminated you. Tati eliminated your ass too, and rightfully so, because you were horrible at that comedy challenge. So when you try to sabotage certain queens on the show, talking about, oh, you're trained for doing when Katya did Princess Di, the train was too long, she cut it and she almost went up going home. So there were certain things that she would plant in people's heads. Same thing she did on the show when she did with Jiggly and a bunch of other people. She pulled it on this one. So that messed her up. But anyway, so with me watching that, and then we have UK versus the World currently airing, and then we have Drag Race, a new episode airing tonight because it's Friday. Their Pink News did an article where they have the alleged list of who will be appearing on the upcoming second season of Canada versus the World. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Y'all already know for me talking about Canada versus the World, I'm not a fan of Canada. I be feeling like y'all accents be working my root canal nerve. Sometimes the way, and there's no shade of Canadians, but it just feels like y'all be coming across a little too chipper, happy go lucky. A lot of y'all be doing that irritation shit, especially last season. That was the first time I actually watched the entire season all the way through. It was only because um what was her name? What was it? Amanda Virgo or Miss Virgo was on there. I don't know. I can't. Melinda Virgo. That's her name. Only because she was on there and she was acting crazy. She was talking about feeling her goats. I don't know what goats, but she had goats. Apparently, she was feeling. So she was basically the entertaining part. But Denim and that stupid ass vocal fry that she was doing, because we all know the bitch don't talk like that, especially when they had the parent challenge where they brought the family members on and the people they was in a relationship with. I was like, girl, we knew you don't talk like that. But she was on the show trying to exaggerate that goddamn Kim Kardashian vocal fry that she was doing. So when I say she, I'm talking queen sense. I know that Denim is a trans person who was female that transitioned into male. So I don't want people to get like that. That is what we do in our community. We refer to everybody as she, regardless of the pronoun situation. It's a gay thing. So I didn't particularly care for Canada as well. But when you bring other people in the mix, I will watch. And some of the queens that they mention in here, I'm actually here for it. So we'll go down the list of people who they said. So one of the queens that they said that is going to be appearing on Canada versus the World is Alexis Mateo. Bam! It looks like Alexis Mateo might be receiving a jujube treatment after potentially being cast on Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World Season 2. So I actually am not bothered by this. I actually think that Alexis would be perfect. Being a part of the show. I wish I had like a group picture of Canada versus the World to kind of pick up instead of, What's that? Well, I just throw that up there so that way we could just all look at Alexis and her in her all her Latina glory. So, yeah, so I could definitely see Alexis Mateo appear on the show, especially because you know what? A lot of the older queens that's been, doing it back in the day, why not do All Stars again? So that way you could reintroduce yourself to the public. Because these younger kids don't necessarily know Tatiana and Juju B and all these other people unless you got to keep reminding people who you are. Otherwise, they won't be checking for you. So another person that they have, Aquarella from Drag Race Brazil season 1, who was the first Brazilian queen to have been drafted into the international arena. Aquarella is the current reigning Miss Congeniality of Brazil's first series. Despite only placing ninth out of the whole of the Brazil, the gourmet clown used her stunning makeup and unpredictable personality to score the hearts of viewers around Brazil. And if she's cast in Canada's Drag Race, Canada versus the world around the world. So there's her. Then we have Cheryl Hole from RuPaul's Drag Race UK season 1, Drag Race UK versus the World season 1. So it says that if the rumors are true, the legendary Cheryl Hole could be one of two of the first queens to return to Drag Race for a second go round on the Versus the World franchise and hopefully finally snag the challenge win. Cheryl nailed the Girl Group Challenge on her original season, but was cruelly eliminated by Janie Jacquet following a ball challenge on season 1. Oh, yeah, I remember that, child. I was like, ooh, that was me. But it happens. And it's a game. So they said, could the third time and complete change in judging panel be the charm for Mrs. Hole? So I would definitely like to see her appear on Canada's Drag Race. Okay, so the next person that we're going to talk about is Geometric. So, the first Canadian queen of the rumored cast competing to bring the title track to the North, Geometric placed fourth on her original season, just missing out on the top three to Pythia, Kendall Jenner, and Isis Couture. It would be her second time being judged by Brooklyn Heights, but Gia already has a Maxi Challenge win under her belt, as well as a stellar runway package, but she was cut from her first season after a lip sync twist. So, um, okay, if she wants to come on, she can come on. But quite frankly, like I stated, it's like I don't really be featuring the Canada queens like that. So I'll be rooting for the other girl. I mean, no shade, but I do like her drag aesthetic though. Okay, so the next queen we're gonna talk about is Kennedy Davenport, who was another one that's been on the rumor mill. So um Kennedy, who was top 4 of season 7 and top 2 of All Stars 3, is on the rumored cast list of Canada's Drag Race Canada versus the World season 2, and that should have the rest of the queens shaking in their show boots because she definitely gives a show, especially when she did All Stars and she did that reverse flip jump on top of the box and gagged not only me, but RuPaul as well. So the Dancing Diva of Texas have a total of 3 Maxi Challenge wins under her wig and a no nonsense attitude. So, Kennedy is a seasoned queen. She's someone who is very opinionated. Dude, I love um when she was on, oh my god, what was that? When she was on Roscoe's, when she was talking about, giving her opinion on the queens. I think she was on last season, and she definitely gave show. I know people was getting mad at her, but I'm like, well, wait a minute, but y'all live for it when all these other girls, especially last week, when I thought the best episode that I saw this entire season, besides Detox and um Roxy Andrews being on the premiere. I love seeing Plasma on last week's episode because Plasma was spilling a whole lot of tea, and that bitch could talk. And that's basically what you want when you do a talk show. That you just ask a question and then go and go, and you just say what you need to say and keep it moving. Okay, so now the next queen that we go talk about is La Cajena from Drag Race France. From the first season, actually, because how many seasons there we only got? We only got 2, right? So anyway, it says following the footsteps of La Grande Dame, who is on you know UK versus the world right now, and she is definitely turning it out. I live for the fashions. I live for everything that La Grande Dame is doing this season. She is definitely eating, and she is like one of my top faves, and hopefully will win this season or be in the top 2. So she originally placed 10th, otherwise known as dead last, making her an unlikely candidate for a spinoff. But her short time on season one of Nikki Doll's Drag Race, she made an impact on audiences of other queens alike. So they said that she'll also be, but look, she's basically the as I like to call the pork chop of the season. So when you've been chopped first, you basically the pork chop. Who was like the season one queen, who was the first ever to be eliminated history, right? Or herstory to be eliminated from RuPaul's Drag Race. So we'll see if she makes the show. Now, the next queen that we're going to talk about, excuse me, is Le Fil, who is another queen that has been added to the list. Wait, I was like, where the damn thing go? Because I don't even see. Oh, so she's from Yorkshire, and she was another one that was eliminated far too soon on her original season, and because she placed seventh after what some people deem a questionable Snatch Game performance. Now she returns to season two of Canada versus the World. She will be the second of three rumored UK queens to be trying to bring the crown back to the UK. Now LaFille has a group challenge win. She fell victim to Black Pepper's lip sync assassination run on Danny Beard's victory win. And the one thing is, Black Pepper was another one of my faves during that season, and Danny Beard, who I believe won that season, um, well deserved. That was a really good season of Drag Race. Okay, so now we're gonna go for that and talk about Lemon, who is allegedly joining Cheryl as a Drag Race UK versus the World Season 1 survivor. Lemon made top four of her original season, but was eliminated first on her return, a decision we feel was highly unjust. Now, the Rapturous of the North, they had an unaired runway package from the UK, and we saw it eventually, and her performance of the talent show was not worthy of a bottom placement. So I actually like Lemon. I hope she does make the show. She definitely is a force to be messed with or reckoned with, and I think she'd be a good addition to the show. Now, this might be the next one that we're going to talk about. Might be a bit controversial, but we're going to talk about her. Let's talk about Miss Fierce Delicious. So Miss Fierce Delicious from her season, I didn't particularly care for her either. She, in my opinion, on season three, was the denim of her season. She worked my root canal nerve. She irritated my entire spirit. But the fashions was everything. She was a force to be reckoned with, and she plays fourth. And she won the IDGAF war along the way. She snagged two challenge wins and fought both of her castmates, making her possible return an absolute stellar casting decision, if the rumors turn out to be true. And Saboteur-in-Chief Vivian Vanderpuss is nowhere to be seen on the cast list, so she's free to operate with as much unbridled chaos and as many prolapse dresses as she feels fit. So it'll be oh, and I didn't even know this, but she appeared on the Canadian version of the Traitors. I didn't even know Canada had a Traitors, but then again, I'm not surprised. Like every one of these shows, when you got a hit show, like I said, when you got RuPaul's Drag Race has like so many damn spinoffs that why would I be surprised that a show that's a huge hit in one area, they would have so many damn um spinoffs. So it's not surprising that they would do like a Canadian version of the Traitors. But anyway, so let's go to a name that some people would deem controversial. But I love a pun and I love an appropriate name. So another name that's allegedly being added to the docket as a possible contender for or Canada versus the world, Something Wong. So another returnee, Something Wong, originally placed seventh and was eliminated after Snatch Game. It's been nearly 5 years since season one of Drag Race, and that's a time that a whole lot of glow up. So you could just go to show that within that 5 year period, has your drag evolved, has your makeup skills evolved, has your wig game evolved. Did you get rid of synthetic and go to human hair? Like these are the things that we all care about. So yeah, her glow up, I'm sure, will be fierce, delicious. To think back to a queen prior to her, and Something Wrong, even though, child, that is such an inappropriate, whatever. I'll tell you, I love a silly pun for a name. So I would definitely love to see her come on the show and perform. Okay, so another queen that they say that is going to be a part of the show is Tynomi Banks. So The final contender of this rumored 11 Queen Strong cast list is Miss Tayomi. I know you know me. A staple of Toronto's drag scene long before the first season of Canada's Drag Race, Tainomi was eliminated shockingly early for such a powerful performer. Still during her time, she made a huge stamp on the competition with her elimination still stinging. She competed alongside Lemon, but left in ninth place after 3 times in the bottom. And if she's getting her heels on for another trip in the workroom, hopefully she has improved. So you know what? If you're somebody, because I've had to say this, there's a lot of girls that are great in the space that they work in, like competitions and performance. Because I said that same thing when I knew Honey Davenport before people who knew who Honey Davenport was. Then when she got on the show, it's like all this time when I was raised, I'm like, Honey is fierce. Like, y'all need to see her perform. And then when she got on the show, and that happens with a lot of the queens when you really know what they're capable of out in the real world, and it goes to show that what works outside the cameras when the cameras aren't off doesn't necessarily work when you're in those situations. And some people who are okay in the spaces of performing out at bars and stuff, they're better at competitions. And that could have been the same situation with Tainomi. That Tainomi is someone who is a fierce bitch in the club scene, but when you get them on TV, it's like it's not like you're not delivering. So I say all this to say, good luck to all of you queens. Hopefully this list is true, or they have some juicier queens that they're going to appear to on the show. But like with anybody else in Tainomi and stuff, this is an opportunity for you to redeem yourself and show that you know what, I've grown since then, and I've gotten better now. I understand now. I want to show how to play the game and how to get beyond your inner saboteur. Okay, so let's get to the um comments. I remember seeing Nate on Oprah like 20 years ago. She has to be mid 40s. Oh yeah, because Nate Burgers was like one of Oprah's favorite people that she used to have on the show. I remember when Roxy was gonna do Sophia Vergara, and Phoebe said, and she should have did it. Instead, she did Alaska. And I'm like, no, that was one of the pet peeves of mine. I hate when other drag queens do excuse me. When drag queens do other drag queens, meaning if you are a drag race girl and you do an interpretation of another drag race girl during Snatch Game, I don't like that because a lot of times y'all fuck it up. Now, if it's Alaska doing Lady Bunny, that works because she got all the nuances. And damn, there's another article that I should have brought up, but I'm gonna save it for maybe if I do a show on Sunday because I'm gonna be out tomorrow and stuff, so I'm not gonna be able to do a show. But if I do a show on Sunday, maybe Monday, there is a article that I believe Pink News did, where they were talking about the drag race queens and stuff, and about the top drag race snatch game performers, like the best snatch game performances and stuff. So I want to bring that on and get y'all picking on that. One of the things I was mad about, they didn't include Alyssa Edwards doing Joan Crawford. That was everything. They didn't include that in the list. That should have been put in there. But other drag race girls were rating their favorite drag race snatch game moments. And then also, um, oh my God, who's the one I always said that Plain Jane is out here trying to rip off with the burger finger and all that other mess? Um, oh my God, I totally forgot her damn it, and I see her in my fucking head. But I know Felix, you in here, you about to tell me. But anyway, so she went and posted on Pink News her thing of what goes wrong with a lot of queens when it comes to doing drag race. When y'all be doing up there doing them drag race snatch game situations, the big mess up that y'all do on the show. I said and telling Alyssa that her Joan Crawford was too much like her normal Barbara, please. But anyway, so but yeah. So okay. Whew. We do have one more topic. I can't believe we did another 3 hour damn show, but we had a lot to talk about, and y'all was all up in here. Jimbo, I don't know how I forgot her damn name. Now it came to me. Jimbo. Jimbo basically gave her opinion on what she believes is the reason that Queens flop Snatch Game. And I would definitely love to read that. I didn't read that article, but they had the best Snatch Games of all time as chosen by Drag Race Queens. So I'm definitely going to save that for another time so we can talk about that on the show. and stuff because and you already know Jinx Monsoon is all over that because Jinx Monsoon, in my opinion, and similar to what the hell's her damn name? Naisha Lopez said last week. She said, like, basically, Jinx Monsoon could teach a master class on how to do something like a snatch game. Yeah, I be picking girls with no personality, like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry. I mean, even if you're gonna pick those people, you need to find a way to make them funny or and that's what RuPaul wants. He just wants y'all to, if y'all gonna do an interpretation of a celebrity, y'all gotta try to make them funny. And you basically take the nuances of things you know, especially like with the music or how they act in interviews, and just play that up. Not like with what the hell's her name? Kenya Michaels, when she was doing Beyonce, had her farting. So I said, you ain't never seen Beyonce up in there passing no damn gas in no public or falling over like she drunk. You ain't never seen that from her, which I think is why she ended up in the bottom. So a few people say, yeah. A lot of people say that, even down to the big boobs and throwing the ketchup and mustard. And it's like, if you're gonna do stupid, you got to do stupid clever. You can't do stupid um and it don't make no sense. It's the same thing like when she was last week when she was trying to do the Rapunzel thing on the runway in the runway challenge, and you pulling your hair and there's a baby attached or your man attached to the end and you kissing it. I'm like, this shit don't make no damn sense with the aesthetic of what you wearing. But vulgar is supposed to be funny. It needs to make sense though. All right, so let's get to our final topic. And before we get up out of here, I want to give a huge condolences to Hydia Broadbent. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with her, but she was a motivational speaker and a high profile, you know, person who advocated and fought against the global AIDS epidemic. She passed away this week at the age of 39. So it says her passing was confirmed by her father, Lauren Broadbent, in a post on Facebook. With great sadness, I must inform you that our beloved friend, mentor, and daughter Hydea passed away today after living with AIDS since birth. This is what his post read. Despite facing numerous challenges throughout her life, Hydea remained undetermined to spread hope and positivity through education around HIV/AIDS. Broadbent was abandoned at the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada in Las Vegas, and as an infant, was adopted by Lauren and Patricia Broadbent. At 3 years old, she was diagnosed as HIV positive with advancement to AIDS. Launching her career as an AIDS activist at 6 years old, she told her story on numerous national television programs, sorry. But one of the ones that I remember that was the first time I saw her was when on Oprah. The Oprah interview, and I'm gonna probably play a clip of that. Hopefully, we don't get, but I'm gonna play a clip of that in a second. But it says she went and appeared on A Conversation with Magic Johnson on Nickelodeon. She appeared also on 2020 and Good Morning America. She also appeared in New York Times, People, Teen People, Essence. Remember Teen People? I used to read that magazine when I was a kid because they used to put everybody on there. Britney, all of them was on there. Anyway, so she appeared on Teen People, Essence, Ebony, and Sister to Sister. In 1996, she was a speaker at the Republican National Convention. She stated, I am the future and I have AIDS. In 2002, her family published a book entitled You Get Past the Tears. She appeared with her family on Extreme Home Makeover in 2004. Now, until her passing, she was an international motivational speaker and committed AIDS activist, which was her life's mission. Now, since 2014, Broadbent represented the Magic Johnson Foundation as well as her aid as other AIDS activists, excuse me, organizations in order to educate people about HIV/AIDS, raise awareness, and fight discrimination against those living with HIV and AIDS. Until her passing, she was an international motivational speaker and committed AIDS activist, which was her life's mission. So, excuse me. So kudos and shout out to her. She was definitely somebody who was the face of such a vicious disease. And I'm curious of like what was the outcome. Like, people don't necessarily die of AIDS. There's always complications of, things that happen. You don't die of AIDS. It's always complicated. So it could be other things, kidney failure, all these other things. So I'm definitely curious as to what happened because especially, excuse me, we live in a time where the medications are so far advanced that people who are HIV positive, people who have AIDS, are able to live long lives, well into their 60s and 70s and stuff. So um she lived a long life, and you know what, I'm so glad that she was able to take this moment of what had happened to her and she didn't allow. And there's people that I know that do this, and I love that about a lot of people who I'm close to who have this virus, is the fact that they didn't let it hinder them. They didn't let it handicap them. That what they did was, you know what? I'm going to turn lemons into lemonade. I'm not going to let this disease mess me up. I'm not going to let this disease define me as who I am, or use it as a way to just get Hasa, which would be, assistance for a home. I mean, you could use it for that because that's what the organizations like the one I used to work for, ACQC. Shout out to y'all, the A Center Queens County. Um, where they provide those places where you can get you a lawyer that helps you out with certain situations, that you get you, they have doctors and stuff on board that can check you out for, medical situations. That every June, first June of, I'm out there in New York, in Queens, because they are sponsors, and we out there protesting and you know what, Cure for AIDS, we chanting, I'm blowing the whistle, I'm marching with my people and all this other stuff because we're out here doing activism. And that was something that's another thing I don't tell a lot of people about, is that there was a time when years ago, I mean, eons ago, when I was in my 20s and stuff, I was out here doing activism work. I was going to gay bars and stuff in Jackson Heights, Queens, and giving out condoms and stuff in bars. It was my way of getting it for free, but also I gave, because I didn't have to pay. And I would go in there and you get a stipend and all this other stuff, and you actually did the charity and, the donations, and you did all the work to educate the community, which is predominantly Latino, especially if you're in Jackson Heights. A lot of Colombians, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of South Americans live in Jackson Heights, Queens. So you're in those areas of being in a gay bar. If you see regular heterosexual couples on the street, and these husbands out here be cheating too, not just on men, but with women and all this other stuff. So going out there, you give them the pamphlets in English and Spanish. You're educating them. You're making sure that they're taking care of their health and all this other stuff. So that way, we nip this in the bud about this spreadation of such a vicious virus. So I love the fact that she was out here doing all the charity work and doing all the things that she needed to be doing. And she took a moment because, like I said, it reminds me of so many stories of people who I know that I'm close to that did not allow us to hinder them and turned a moment of them finding out that they had AIDS into a moment for activism. So they're fighting for those benefits. They're fighting out here for a cure. They're fighting for the opportunities or the ways that a lot of these people can be taken care of. So kudos to her. But before we go, I did want to play this clip of her on Oprah. So just a second.
I was born, I was HIV positive. And when I turned 5, I had symptoms of AIDS. Mm-hmm. I had fungus in my brain, blood infections, pneumonia. I went cold blue a couple of times.
What's the hardest part for you, Hadiyah?
When your friends die. A lot of my friends have died of AIDS. No one really knows how long anybody's gonna live because I don't tell myself like, oh, you have AIDS. Or I could go outside and get hit by a bus tomorrow. And you never know. If you stay in your bed and feel sorry for yourself and don't get up with the birds and just sit there and say, I'm gonna die, why get up and try and make a difference? But when you say, well, today's another day, I can get up, I can do something, make something positive. When I was born, I was HIV positive.
So yeah, I just wanted to play that clip, and then, just as a way to pay homage to her and give my condolences and all that stuff. So rest in power, Hadiyah. You definitely did good while you was on this earth. All right, so we got some comments, and then we'll get up out of here. Linnea said, like, Bianca did Judge Judy for Snatch Game. I don't know if she's on that list, but I'm gonna have to definitely look that when I bring that up on one of the weekend shows I'll definitely see, because I don't remember off the top of my head if she was on there. But they'd be a fool to not include that one, because she definitely ate with that performance. But Bianca, we already know Bianca serves, because I've seen her perform live and do stand up, and Bianca had everybody in the room in tears, even people who didn't have it. Because what it was is that we did like a special Voss events type situation at the circus that one of my friends, Pito Carrera, put together. So Voss events came, Valachowski performed, Bianca Del Rio MC'd. There was like they had to do like circus acts and stuff because she does a lot of circus type stuff. Valachowski and a bunch of other queens. So they performed. Bianca hosted. We got letters from Lincoln Center because Bianca's profanity in her mouth was so much. We got complaints, which caused Bianca to curse and be even more vicious, which was hilarious. But people who weren't even aware of who she was, the gays knew who she was, and some of those who watched Drag Race, but the regular mouth breathing, blue collar heterosexuals that I work with that put them tits and shit together, they were in there crying as well from laughter. So Bianca had everybody in the palm of her hand. So I didn't realize who she was until somebody posted side by side pictures of her as a child and her as an adult. It's like, yeah, unless you really know what she looks like, because it took me a minute to be like, "Hi, dear, bro." I was like, I knew the name because it was familiar. And then she does look a little bit different as she's older, but certain nuance, like if you look at her eyes and the sort of thing, they do match. So it's like, yeah, once you see those old clips and stuff, you could put two and two together. Oh, yeah, I remember her. But for those of you who don't know who she was and what she's done in the industry, I mean, as far as like being an advocate for HIV and AIDS. Just a little educational moment, because we like to feed y'all everything. I don't just want to do celebrity news and gossip. Every time and again, I like to turn into PBS. We can do a little PBS over here. But anyway, so hold on, because I always do this at the end. So anyway, okay. So we're at the end of the show. Yes, another damn 3-hour show. But we had a lot of juice, a lot of tea, a lot of stuff that was going on up in here that we had to get to. It's been a juicy week with a lot of topics. So thank you all for watching this episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to also say before y'all get up out of here, do yourselves a solid and hit that like button, that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification button so that way you know when we go live on a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So thank you, Lanier, for popping in and commenting, as well as Felix. Robert was in here also, Lost of This Garden of Life, Cleveland Legends, and if I'm missing anybody else, Unicorn of Love. I apologize if I miss a couple of other. I know Sailor Mermaid was in here earlier. Cheryl J was in here. Um, yeah, so hopefully I acknowledge everybody. If I did not apologize, I still love you though. But yes, do yourselves a solid, hit that like button, that subscribe button, that notification button. Hope you all did like this episode, even though I just love feeding y'all as much knowledge as I possibly can with a little shade on the side. But anyway, love you all for watching. Love you all for having me on the background while you're doing your cooking, your cleaning, whatever the case is. And until next time, ciao, darlings.